Chapter 810, Jiuming's Sect Leader. Chapter 810, Jiuming's Sect Leader Kaiji held the pill in disbelief that one pill could let her reach heaven level immediately. However, she still took the pill without hesitation. Soon, she felt a strong spirit force charging. In her joy, she quickly started running her cultivation method and turning it into inner chi. As her inner chi increased, her chi seed gradually formed. Yemo also took a pill himself and started cultivating. After a few meridian cycles, he got up suddenly. He had now reached stage 8 tertiary stage. Yemo got up and felt very satisfied. He had just noticed it was daylight now. He looked at Kaiji, and at this moment, she stopped cultivating and got up. She looked joyfully at her hands, as though they had turned smoother. She felt a strong inner chi and felt as though she could easily destroy a house with the wave of her hand. "I've reached heaven level," Kaiji said to herself. She thanked Yemo once again. She hadn't thought his pills were so powerful. Yemo smiled. "Congrats!" Xingqiao happened to be at the door of Yemo's room, and he heard his martial sister Kaiji howl in Yemo's room. He was shook. Was Yemo an animal? He just stayed at their sect for one night, but he had taken his martial sister to rape her? Xingqiao had long wanted Kaiji. Although her looks weren't exceptional, he knew that she had a natural aromatic body. However, his talent was average, and he had only been able to reach Earth-level middle stage due to all sorts of resources. But that had been more than 10 years ago. He stayed where he had been since then. Ever since he was rejected by her last time, he had wanted to catch up to her in power. Yet the more desperate he was, the slower he cultivated. Hearing Kaiji inside Yemo's room, he couldn't resist it anymore and immediately started knocking. If Yemo hadn't a VIP and he could beat Yemo, he would be kicking his way in. Yemo knew it was Xingqiao outside. He looked at Kaiji and said, "Let's go out. Take me to that Pang Wei. After that, I will be leaving Jiuming Academy." "Yes, Brother Yi," Kaiji said. When the door opened, Xingqiao saw Kaiji. Her clothes weren't very neat, they even looked a little messy. However, she had a smile on her face and didn't look like she had been forced at all. Kaiji rarely smiled. Xingqiao was dazed and asked, "Martial Sister Kaiji, did you come to City Lord Ye's room this morning?" Kaiji stopped smiling and returned to her cold look. She said, "No, I came last night. Do you need anything?" Hearing this, Xingqiao immediately realized what was going on. What would a man and woman do together in a room overnight? He opened his mouth and suddenly pulled out his sword. He yelled, "I'm going to kill you!" Before Yemo could speak, Kaiji sneered and kicked Xingqiao many meters away onto a flower pot. Xingqiao's yell startled a lot of people at once. Fengwu was the first to get there. He looked at Kaiji, who didn't have tidy clothes, and then at Xingqiao. He frowned. "Martial Brother Zhen, what are you doing here? I will kill Yemo. He seduced Martial Sister Kaiji into staying in his room for the night." Xingqiao snarled. Kaiji frowned and sneered. "Xingqiao, who are you to me? I asked Brother Yi to help me, so I came here. Even if he had called me over, what does that have to do with you?" Xingqiao opened his mouth, but he was at a loss of words. Everyone immediately understood what was going on while Xingxia smiled bitterly to himself. That Brother Yi was a clean and honorable person, but it seemed like he controlled himself with women. Moreover, Kaiji was not an extremely outstanding woman. Yemo couldn't even be bothered explaining. "Hurry up and leave!" Fengwu yelled at Xingqiao. He didn't want to look at him anymore. Then, he said politely to Yemo, "My martial brother heard that City Lord Yi had come, and he got very happy. He wanted to see City Lord Yi. Please come with me." "I'll come with you." Xingxia knew that Jiuming Academy didn't have a good impression of Yemo. He was one of the big 6 sect leaders, so he would go with Yemo to show his stance. Yemo smiled and said to Fengwu, "Sorry, if sect leader Wang wants to see me, then tell him to come here. I'm going to do something with Kaiji. I don't have time to see your sect leader Wang." "Huh!" Fengwu hadn't thought that Yemo would be like this, so he didn't know what to say. people starting discussing immediately. Although Yemo was strong and had managed to make Xingjingxia reach great heaven in one night, he couldn't be so rude to sect leader Wang. After all, he was a Qianbei. And some people felt Yemo was no weaker than Wang Yijian. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to annihilate Gourd Cave. Yet he still needed to pay his respects to Wang Yijian. Only Xingjingxia and Kai Ji knew that Yemo wasn't doing this intentionally. It was like a yellow level telling an earth level, "Hey, you're not bad. I'll give you a chance to meet me." Would that earth level go visit the yellow level? It was already lucky for the yellow level that the earth level hadn't killed him. The atmosphere became eerie, but Kaiji said, "Martial Brother Feng, Brother Yi really does have something to do with me. He doesn't have time." Kaiji you dash. Feng Wu hadn't expected Kaiji to be helping Emo too. She even called him Brother Yi. Even if they had slept together, it was just a one-night thing. She didn't need to change so much. When he looked at Kaiji carefully again, he screamed out in shock. "Martial Sister Kaiji, you've reached great heaven?" "What?" Everyone observed Kaiji and noticed that she was like Xingjingxia, obviously a great heaven master. Everyone looked at Yemo with fiery eyes, especially the women. They wanted to drag Yemo into a room and let him do anything he wanted so they could reach great heaven too. Xingjingxia just then realized that there was nothing between Yemo and Kaiji. She couldn't have done anything else that night. Yemo looked around and said, "I found 3 great heaven fruits on the Duanheng ranges. I ate one and I let Kaiji and sect leaders eat the other 2. Yemo knew that greed was endless. Hence, he had to eradicate their greed or he would have to slaughter, which was something he didn't want to do. "That means, City Lord Yi, that you're also at great heaven?" Feng Wu asked in shock. Before Yemo could reply, a deep voice sounded. "The Wanbei are indeed impressive. Since I can't get City Lord to come, I came to visit City Lord Yi." Chapter 8:11 Pinnacle Battle. Chapter 8:11 Pinnacle Battle. At this moment, a middle-aged man appeared at the flower pot where Jing Chao fell down. No one except for Yemo knew how he appeared. This middle-aged man had sword-like eyebrows and long black hair. He was much taller than Yemo, almost 1.9 m. His face was also very handsome. "Sect Leader Wang! Principal Wang! Martial Brother!" Greetings sounded from all around, and Wang Yijian had very good manners, so he saluted with his fists to everyone as he kept on wishing them welcome to Jiuming Academy. Everyone compared the two and immediately felt that Yemo was too rude. Wang Yijian then greeted Yemo. "I've long since heard of City Lord Ye's dapper, and now that I see you today, you indeed live up to the name. I just hope you will treat Martial Sister Kaiji right." Kaiji heard this and blushed. "Martial Brother Wang, it's not what you think." "Ha ha!" Wang Yijian laughed. "Kaiji, it's your fortune that you could reach great heaven. I will talk to you later, but there's a few questions I would like to ask City Lord Yi first." Yemo could feel that Wang Yijian was actually being genuine. This wasn't an act. Yemo saluted back and smiled. "You can ask ahead, Sect Leader Wang. I will tell you what you want," Wang Yijian replied. "I heard that when Gourd Cave was still around, City Lord Yi went there. Have you seen Brother Renpingchuan?" Yemo thought, does this Wang Yijian want to get revenge for Renpingchuan? And replied, "Yes, I saw him, and I killed him." Everyone took in a cold breath. Renpingchuan and Wang Yijian were renowned as the 2 geniuses of their generation. They were equal in power, so if Yemo could kill Renpingchuan, then didn't that mean he could kill Wang Yijian too? Wang Yijian heard this, and his face turned serious. "If I may I ask, when you killed Brother Ren, had he reached great heaven?" Yemo nodded. "Yes, he had but just broken through at the time. He'd lost his legs and had internal injuries, though, so that battle was unfair for him, but I had no choice. If I hadn't killed him, he would have killed me." Wang Yijian breathed easy after hearing this and asked again. "Then if you met Renpingchuan now and he were in top condition, would he be a match for you?" "No," Yemo answered without thinking. Wang Yijian looked serious and stared at Yemo for a long while before saying, "Do you think I'm no match for you either?" Emo smiled. You are not. As soon as Emo said this, the Jioming Academy members were unhappy. This city lord Yi was too cocky. Wang Yijian didn't seem angry at all. He frowned and thought for a while before saluting to Emo. I know city lord Yi wouldn't tell lies, but Wang Yijian lives for the martial Dao. Even though I know I'm no match for city lord Yi, I still want to spar with you. As soon as Wang Yijian said this, everyone became excited. This would be a battle at the pinnacle. The clash between these two masters would create huge sparks. No one believed that Wang Yijian was really not a match for Emo. They thought Wang Yijian was just being humble. City Lord Yi, if you will, let's go to the martial grounds. Wang Yijian was a true gentleman. Even after what Emo said, he was still very polite to Emo. Almost everyone went to the martial grounds, and it was soon full of people. No one wanted to miss this battle. Wang Yijian carried a sword and flew for 10 meters all the way onto the stage. As Emo brought Kaiji along, he also saw Peng Wei, who had come immediately as well. Emo saw that Kaiji just glanced at Peng Wei once and looked away. She seemed expressionless, but the fire in her eyes was burning with hatred. Emo told Kaiji to wait on the side and came to the stage himself, saying to Wang Yijian, Sect Leader Wang, you may attack first. Wang Yijian said calmly to Emo, I've devoted my entire life to the martial Dao, so once I fight, it will be a life and death battle. Before the fight I want to ask City Lord Yi, you probably didn't come here for no reason, right? Emo smiled. He knew that Wang Yijian meant to say, if you die, I will at least help you fulfill your last wish. Emo shook his head. I indeed have some business. I came to kill someone, precisely someone from the Jioming Academy. Hence it's a pity that I have to tell you that even if I died, you couldn't fulfill my wish, so I won't say more. Not that you wouldn't want to, but you wouldn't be able to. A sliver of anger flashed across Wang Yijian's eyes. He thought that Emo didn't believe his honor as a martial artist, but Emo was wrong. He valued his integrity, so how can he not do what he should do? He would do it even if Emo told him to commit suicide, because Emo had the right to ask him a request. But he didn't keep asking since Emo didn't believe him. Where's your sword? Wang Yijian was an upright martial artist. Even if Emo didn't believe him, he didn't want to take advantage of Emo. Emo shook his head but didn't speak. No matter how much character Wang Yijian had, he couldn't hold it in anymore. He spun his sword into forming an array of sword flowers. Each flower had sword rays inside, and these flowers immediately exploded in front of Emo, immersing him within. He had decided to show his real power immediately to force Emo to pull out his sword. If Emo didn't do that, he would be dead. This was Wang Yijian's true killing move. Xingxia got up immediately. He was at the heaven level now and could feel Wang Yijian's killing intent. This was due to Wang Yijian's will having merged with the sword, and anything in his path would be pulverized. Chapter 8:12 I will be killing someone. Chapter 8:12 I will be killing someone. The sword flowers exploded in front of Emo, and Wang Yijian found that firstly, Emo still did not pull out his sword, and secondly, he did not dodge either. Wang Yijian was astonished. Was Emo asking to die? Even Kaiji and Xingxia were sweating cold despite knowing that Emo would win. Emo wasn't asking to die, of course. Wang Yijian wasn't bad, but he was far from as strong as Len Quan and company. Even Len Quan was made to die in front of Emo, much less Wang Yijian now that Emo was 2 levels stronger than before. Emo didn't dodge because he didn't need to. His 2 hands spun a semi-arc, and those frosty sword rays and killing intent soon seemed easily controlled by Emo's hands. It was like a water ball was gathered between Emo's hands. When he closed his hands, it all disappeared along with the ball. Those with bright eyes could see that the exploding sword rays and chi were held in Emo's hand, unable to escape. Wang Yijian looked at his sword in a daze, and his shock was indescribable. His sword was clasped between Emo's hand, and no matter how he used his inner chi, the sword wouldn't move. Wang Yijian's face was pale. He had lost with just 1 move. More than that, he might have gotten to use 1 move, but he was sure that Emo could kill him all too easily. He had considered the possibility of losing, but only after a serious battle if at all. He didn't expect to lose so easily. Yet he had treated someone as powerful as this as a wanbei. Wang Yijian felt his face burn with shame. He had devoted half a century to the martial Tao, yet he was beaten so easily. He lost so hard that he somehow even lost faith in himself. Emo let go of Wang Yijian's longsword. He didn't want Wang Yijian to be too embarrassed. After all, Wang Yijian was a devoted martial artist. Emo didn't have anything against people like him. I lost. Wang Yijian even forgot to take back his sword and only spat these words out after a long while. He realized that he had been viewing the world from the bottom of a well. Emo said he was no match for him, yet he thought Emo was being cocky. Now, it seemed that Emo wasn't being cocky but was actually giving him plenty of respect. The truth was that he wasn't even worthy of Emo attacking. Emo saw the deep loss and defeat in Wang Yijian's eyes and sighed. Sect leader Wang, you lost to me not because you're not as talented or as strong-willed as me. You just never comprehended true ancient martial arts. If you still have faith in the martial Tao, you can talk to sect leaders Ying and Kai Ji. Most importantly, casting everything aside to focus on ancient martial arts might not be the best way for you to reach the peak. You might miss out on something like that, just like how you don't know that the real #1 master in Jiuming Academy isn't you but someone else. Wang Yijian heard this and remembered that martial sister Kai Ji and Xing Jingxia had only had to spend one night with Emo to reach great heaven. His heart lit up again. Perhaps he didn't understand the martial Tao correctly. Perhaps he could learn what he truly needed from them. As for Wang Yijian not being the #1 master, Wang Yijian thought Emo meant that he was the #1 master. Thank you, City Lord Yi. Wang Yijian bowed deeply to Emo. He didn't know if Kai Ji would be able to tell him why, but he already knew the difference between him and Emo was too great. The scene burst out. Most people didn't expect Wang Yijian to lose, while some had thought he would lose but not so utterly. Was this the supposed pinnacle battle? If it was, then it was too much of a joke. Wang Yijian left the martial stage but didn't leave the scene. He really wanted to know who Emo was going to kill, and why Emo said Wang Yijian wouldn't be able to kill him. Suddenly, Wang Yijian was shook. Emo said that the #1 master in Jiuming Academy wasn't him, so was there someone in the sect stronger than him? When Pang Wei saw Emo catch Wang Yijian's sword with 2 hands, his pupils dilated quickly. He knew Emo was very powerful but didn't expect him to be this powerful. This was far exceeding Wang Yijian's level. Pang Wei thought that if he fought Wang Yijian, he could also instantly catch Wang Yijian's sword, but he knew the Jiuming Academy sword style, while Emo didn't. From this, he could tell that Emo was no weaker than him at all. Pang Wei's eyes sunk. Emo was this young, yet he was this strong already. He must have some secret. He wasn't going to let Emo go, and he still believed he could kill Emo head-on. Even if Emo had no secret, he had to die. He wouldn't allow anyone who could threaten him to exist. Pang Wei turned around. He wouldn't attack Emo now. He wanted to make sure he had a 100% guarantee. Just when he was about to leave, he heard Emo's voice. As I said, I have something important to do here other than sparring with sect leader Wang. Everybody stopped talking. Emo said plainly. I will be killing someone today. This person is Jiuming Academy's Pang Wei. Emo didn't explain his reason, but no one would think he didn't have a reason. Did the strongest person in the hidden sects need a reason to kill Pang Wei? Everyone from Jiuming Academy was dazed, though. They didn't think Emo would be killing Pang Wei. He was the second master of the sect, but he kept a low profile. Why would Emo attack him? People would feel it was much more reasonable for Emo to kill Feng Wu, who kept a high profile and had a much greater chance of offending Emo. Feng Wu was actually also dazed. City Lord Yi? Emo waved his hand and stopped Feng Wu from talking. He stared coldly at Pang Wei. You can come up now. If you can kill me here, that will be the effect of your own power, and no one will seek revenge from you. Pang Wei turned around again, and his eyes narrowed. He stared at Emo for a long while before saying, I never manage anything for Jiuming Academy. Why is it that you want me dead? A sword suddenly appeared in Emo's hand, and he flicked it while replying, Because I don't like you, I want to kill you. Is that not enough? Ha! Pang Wei laughed and said scornfully, City Lord Yi, you're overstepping boundaries. Jiuming Academy is still one of the big sects, yet you're going to kill its people without reason. Are all high-powered people this prone to carnage? You can annihilate Gourd Cave as you please, and now the next one is our Jiuming Academy? Many people stared at Yemo with tension. If Yemo admitted to it, they would all attack. Yemo sneered. You sure know how to scheme around. 20 years ago, you stole something from a family, killed the entire family, and raped 3 women. Did you forget that? You're asking to die. Pang Wei didn't expect Yemo to know this. Where did Yemo hear this from? And he even said it in public? It seemed he would need to slaughter today. There was no way he would allow anyone to know that he had the Wu God chant. Chapter 8:13 Keep Acting Cocky. Chapter 8:13 Keep acting cocky. When people saw Pang Wei's face after hearing Yemo's words, they knew that things didn't seem so simple. Many of those who wanted to help him changed their minds. Wang Yijian had realized that Yemo hadn't even taken out his weapon when fighting him. However, he took out his weapon for Pang Wei. He was dazed. Was Pang Wei stronger than him? But the next moment, he found out he was greatly wrong. Pang Wei's short figure immediately stood up straight and seemed taller. His temperament and chi were spilling out like crazy. Wang Yijian hadn't expected Pang Wei to have such power and still keep a low profile in Jiuming Academy. If it hadn't been that Yemo was there to kill him, perhaps no one would have ever known he was such a master. Those who felt Pang Wei's immense pressure and power could tell that he was the real number 1 in Jiuming Academy. No wondered why Yemo was taking out his sword then. Yemo didn't dare to treat an almost foundation establishment state-level master easily. He was sure that Pang Wei was no match for him, but he wasn't cocky enough to ignore him. Pang Wei and Li Qing were both at real great heaven, but Pang Wei cultivated the Wu God chant. Yemo hadn't seen the cultivation method yet, but he was sure that it was much stronger than what Li Qing cultivated. Hence, he wouldn't take his opponent lightly before they fought. Sensing Pang Wei's immense chi, Kaiji felt that she almost couldn't breathe. She was shook. She was at heaven level now and just on the border of the stage. If she hadn't reached great heaven and had tried to ambush Pang Wei, it would have been impossible to kill him. Luckily, she hadn't done it or she would have been dead by then. Pang Wei took a step forward. However, it was that one step that brought him in front of Yemo already. Yemo's eyes narrowed. Since City Lord Yi is so cocky, then let me see what you've got. I just hope you don't end up getting killed before killing me. Pang Wei didn't even pull out the curved sword on his back and he just threw a punch at Yemo. This plain punch made Yemo feel uneasy and breathless. He could even feel that the entire peak's spirit chi seemed to have been drawn by this fist. It was as though if he had hesitated for a moment, he would have been pulverized by the punch. Without hesitation, Yemo's flying sword appeared and he attacked with dense cultivation essence. A thunderous clash sounded. Yemo was smashed 10 meters away with his flying sword. He even spat a mouthful of blood in the air while Pang Wei was completely fine and didn't even take a step back. Instead, he punched again. The audience was shocked. They hadn't thought Pang Wei was that strong. Yemo had beaten Wang Yijian with one move, yet Pang Wei had knocked Yemo away with one punch. The Jiuming Academy disciples rejoiced and immediately cheered for Pang Wei. They hadn't thought their sect had such a master. Kaiji's heart beat rapidly. Her forehead was sweating and blood was seeping out of her fingers. She had thought Pang Wei was dead for sure, but it turned out he was stronger than Yemo. Only Yemo knew that the reason he was forced back that much was not due to the difference in their chi, but because Pang Wei had played a dirty move. He hadn't thought Pang Wei could turn the outside spirit chi into his inner chi, so he got injured by Pang Wei's own chi. Luckily, the spirit chi there was diluted and Pang Wei's power was limited. However, he was prepared now and wouldn't fall for the same trick again. However, Emo was also very shocked. It was said that only masters above nascent soul state could mobilize the chi in the environment, yet Peng Wei could do it. Still, Emo was happy because he knew that the Wu God chant was very strong. A mere great heaven was able to throw such a fierce punch. Peng Wei's fighting experience was very good, and before Emo had landed, his second punch was there. However, this was just purely his own power. Emo knew that he had no other way but to clash head-on. Peng Wei had intentionally created this situation thinking that his inner chi was much stronger than Yemo's. This time, Emo didn't use his flying sword and just used his fist. Rumble, 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 the two fists clashed together, making bone-cracking sounds. Even the people on the stage felt intense aftershocks that ripped their skin apart. Some people were bleeding already. There was a crater due on the center of the stage due to the clash. Seeing such fierce battle, everyone was speechless. It was the real pinnacle of martial arts battles. Emo was thrown high up in the air and Peng Wei sneered. He knew that there was no way to gain a momentum in the air. He had created that situation too. He still believed that Emo was no match for him, even if he hadn't done that. Yet his careful nature made him treat all his opponents with full power. Emo sighed. The Wu God chant was really terrifying. Luckily, he was cultivating the three-birth chant, or he would have been dead that day. He knew what Peng Wei was thinking. Peng Wei was well experienced but far less than Emo. He wouldn't have thrown him in the air if he hadn't let him. Before Emo could land, Peng Wei stomped the ground and was shot up like a rocket. Die! A huge fist got formed again and attacked Emo's lower body. Everyone thought that Emo was be dead for sure. Emo sneered. He didn't need to clash directly with Peng Wei, he could just get on his flying sword and dodge it, but Emo didn't want to do that. At the same time, Emo gathered all his cultivation essence onto that one fist. He didn't believe that the three-birth chant's cultivation essence was weaker than the Wu God chant's inner chi. The two fists clashed again. Rumble, the explosion of chi caused a big roar and bone-breaking sounds were heard. This time, Peng Wei spat out blood and was shot down from the air by Emo. He landed on the rocky ground and created a huge crater. Keep acting cocky, Emo sneered. He punched Peng Wei again. Chapter 8:14 Attaining the Tao Through Martial Arts. Chapter 8:14 Attaining the Tao Through Martial Arts. Bang, the sound of another clash could be heard as a curved sword with searing sword chi smashed against Emo's fist wind. Peng Wei just barely managed to pull out his curved sword and block Emo's strike, but he was smashed many meters away and stumbled onto the ground. He spat another mouthful of blood before steadying his sword and glaring at Emo coldly. Emo took out a lotus life pill and put it in his mouth. This Peng Wei was quite tough, and his body was surprisingly strong. It could be seen that the Wu God chant was really something. But Peng Wei was thinking that he had underestimated Emo. Never had he thought he would meet someone who could beat him head-on. When he got the Wu God chant, he immediately knew it was a cultivation method of the highest shelf. Yet even though he had been cultivating it for decades, he was still no match for Emo. What was Emo's secret? He really didn't believe that Emo had a stronger cultivation method than him. Everyone was dumbfounded, and no one knew who would win the fight now. Emo didn't use any wind blades as he knew that it would just be a waste of cultivation essence. How about you let me go? I know you're not truly trying to get revenge for them. You want the Wu God chant, so I can give it to you. Peng Wei was still bleeding, but he was very calm. Emo ignored Peng Wei and approached him again. This time, his flying sword appeared in his hand, and he pierced out with it. It was just a simple pierce, but the half-step Great Heaven cultivators and Great Heaven masters could easily feel Emo's killing intent. It was a simple strike, but Emo had locked off all directions of escape for Peng Wei. Peng Wei sneered. Even though he had the lower hand, Emo was underestimating him by thinking that he could lock him down with just an inner chi wall. But immediately after, Peng Wei's face changed drastically. This strike wasn't slow, but when Emo first pierced out, there was just one sword, while after 1 inch, it became 2 swords, after another inch, it became 4 swords, 8, 16, and so on. Peng Wei was shook. He couldn't let Yemo keep piercing, as each sword tip also had a sword ray enveloping it. Peng Wei didn't dare to hold back anymore. He gathered all his energy in his curved sword and hacked at the sword rays. Energy sprayed everywhere, and Peng Wei knew that it was because he used too much energy and couldn't control it properly. Clank, clank, clank. Peng Wei's curved sword was shattered into countless pieces. He knew that if they clashed head-on with fists, perhaps he could last a while, but in a battle with weapons, he had no chance and couldn't even run away. Yemo's sword rays didn't completely dissipate. A few escaped and pierced into Peng Wei's body, bringing out flowers of blood which splashed onto the rock behind him. Yemo then telekinetically grabbed a very thin old book from Peng Wei with the words Wu God chant on it. Peng Wei was covered in blood but didn't fall dead immediately. He uttered word by word. "What sword technique did you use?" Yemo said plainly. "It's not a sword technique, it's a sword ability or sword skill." "What sword skill?" Peng Wei was really unsatisfied. He was killed in the head-on clash even though he had the upper hand at the start. He had to know what sword ability he died to. 3-burst sword chant, Yemo said, and then opened the Wu God chant. 3-burst sword chant, Peng Wei murmured and collapsed onto the ground. The scene was dead silent. No one dared to speak loudly. The fight between these two masters was more than they could handle. Only Yemo moved as he was flipping through the book. Everyone knew the book must be very valuable, but no one dared to go up or even speak. After 10 minutes, Yemo had completely remembered the content of the book and understood what ancient martial arts truly was. This was an insanely powerful cultivation method. Instead of ancient martial arts, it was more like a cultivation method for attaining the Tao through martial arts. However, it was incomplete. It was divided into 4 ranks: Lesser Heaven, Great Heaven, Wu State, God State. The Lesser Heaven had 4 levels: Yellow, Black, Earth, and Heaven. Great Heaven had 3 levels: Refined Blood, Enlightenment, and Wisdom. Li Qing and Peng Wei were both at the Refined Blood state. The Wu State had 3 levels: Bone Sacrifice, Wilderness Soul, and Wu King. God State was incomplete, meaning that one could at most reach Wu King with this copy of the Wu God chant. Yemo closed the booklet. He felt that the booklet was very useful to him. Yemo believed that using the 3-birth chant, he could set up a new cultivation system. It would be a body cultivation method. In the cultivation realm, there were quite a few body cultivation methods, but rarely anybody chose to practice it. One reason was because they required large amounts of resources, and another reason was that it took large amounts of time. The truth cultivators didn't even have enough time for truth cultivation, who would waste time on body cultivation. Yemo put the Wu God chant away and said to everyone, "I'll be leaving now, we shall meet again if the time comes." Then he leaped away, and everyone immediately looked at where Yemo stood in disbelief. When Yemo took his first step, there was still a figure of him visible, but after the second step, his figure was dimmed. And when he made the third step, he completely disappeared. No one dared to think what level Yemo was at. These were inhuman means. Those who had had some little schemes for the Wu God chant immediately gave up on their thoughts. Wang Yijian had a bitter smile. He had understood that Yemo was much stronger than him, but he didn't expect it to be this much. Also, he hadn't been the #1 master of Jiu Ming Academy. Although he didn't know what Peng Wei's purpose was, it would have clearly been all too easy for Peng Wei to kill him. He wasn't afraid of death, but he didn't want Jiu Ming Academy to fall in his hands. He was actually a little thankful to Yemo right now. He glanced at Kaiji, who was in disappointment, and suddenly said, "Martial Sister Kaiji, I would like to talk to you. Do you have some time?" Kaiji woke up and said, "Sorry, Martial Brother, I know what you want to ask. But how about you ask Martial Brother Xing, as I'm a little unwell, and I'll be going to rest." Then she saluted with her fists and left. After Yemo killed Peng Wei, She wanted to kneel on the ground and tell her dead parents that she had gotten revenge for them. But after Emo left, she felt emptiness. She didn't know what to do anymore, as she had lost her life goal. She also felt bad that Emo didn't even speak to her before leaving. Emo had said he would give it to her. She didn't really want it, but it would make her feel better if Emo had asked first. When Kaiji went back to her room and took off her jacket, she found an ancient-looking booklet inside the pocket of her inner layer. Chapter 8:15 Annihilate North Sand. Chapter 8:15 Annihilate North Sand. Barely anyone had ever heard of the country called Sisun, but after its political revolution, its name was changed to Northern Sand, and it started massively developing industrially. Especially the military industry developed. The second year of the country after being renamed Northern Sand, they sent their own satellite into orbit. The third year, they produced world-class fighter jets. The fourth year, they started their mothership construction plan. Many people said that their technology was developing even faster than Luoyu's. Northern Sand's governing system was that of an empire. The emperor was called the Northern Sand King. He had absolute power and was a dictator. When Luoyu suggested to the Union to put Northern Sand to trial, the Northern Sand government got first-hand notice of it. At the highest meeting center of Northern Sand, all the high-level officials had gathered. The Northern Sand King was a black-faced man. The room was scarily silent, and no one dared to talk. "Prime Minister Dongfang, your plan failed." The black-faced man broke the silence, and his voice was cold. Dongfang Tang shook a little. Although he had his plans, he felt the Northern Sand King wasn't so easy to deal with. Dongfang Tang got up and bowed to the Northern Sand King before saying, "My plan was fine. The only thing that made it turn out this way was that we didn't expect Emo to suddenly come back after disappearing for more than 10 years. It is due to this that our Dongfang family in Luoyu was annihilated. According to his plan, it would take 1 or maybe even only half a year longer before Luoyu would become theirs without any war. Luoyu would be controlled by Dongfang Wang, after which Dongfang Wang would help him annihilate the Northern Sand King, and he would take over Northern Sand. Then, they would gradually start devouring other territories. As for the conflict between the two brothers, they had agreed that they would deal with outside problems first before discussing who should be the Shitang King. However, just when they were about to succeed, Emo came back and thwarted their plans, wasting 2 years of their hard work. Emo found the Northern Sand meeting center as soon as he came to Sisun. He saw the people in the meeting room and immediately became happy. He came here mainly to annihilate the Northern Sand hierarchy, but he didn't expect to see Dongfang Tang there as well. Emo went into the Northern Sand government building and killed all the soldiers on the way. He found that there really were many masters here. There were 3 half-step great heavens and 7 earth levels. Many more black and yellow levels were around too. There were also more than 10 low-level mutants. Emo didn't know what resources Northern Sand had that could allow them to produce so many masters in 10 years. This was too shocking. As Emo killed, news got out, and the power center of Northern Sand started to worry. Sisun's army also started to move. They had been suppressed by Northern Sand, but now that someone was attacking Northern Sand, they weren't going to let the opportunity pass. The factories and military factories started having riots. When the Northern Sand leaders got news of all this, they found that their door was already being blocked and their guards and soldiers had all disappeared. Emo stood at the door. "It's you? Emo!" Dongfang Wang was thinking about how much the Northern Sand King would be raging at him when he realized that Emo had suddenly appeared at the heart of Northern Sand. When Dongfang Wang said these words, almost everyone in the room got up, and they all looked fearful. They had clearly heard about Emo. Everyone knew how great the defense of the Northern Sand building was, yet Emo easily had walked to the door of their meeting room. Emo scanned the place before looking at the Northern Sand King. He noticed that the man was a mutant. Emo knew that this Northern Sand King was no ordinary mutant at that. He was far stronger than that level 8 mutant he had seen before. Emo didn't attack him straight away, but he definitely wasn't going to let the man run away. Yemo, I've long since heard of your big name, but you're a man of high stature, and Luo Yu has such vast lands, and it's tens of times greater than Northern Sand. Why must you keep targeting Northern Sand? The Northern Sand King asked. Yemo laughed and waved his hand. A Northern Sand official who tried to escape through the window was sliced in half. A bloody smell spread in the room, and the scene became silent. Many people were shaking. The one who tried to run was an Earth-level master, yet he was so easily killed. Yemo looked at the Northern Sand King and sneered. Since you know there's nothing between us, why did you send people to seize Luo Yu's governmental power? Why did you send people to kill off the hidden sects and blame it on me? And the bomb I saw at the North Pole was also made by the trash standing before me, right? The Northern Sand King's face looked very bad being called trash for the first time, but he didn't rage. He said coldly, "Those things have nothing to do with me. From the very start, I never decided to attack Luo Yu or you. I truly admire City Lord Yi and bear no ill will at all." Before Yemo could sneer at this, the Northern Sand King pointed at Dong Fangwang and said, "All the ideas for attacking you and Luo Yu came from him. He's a ravenous wolf. The reason why he joined Northern Sand was to steal my power and build up his own power. Whether or not you believe me, Dong Fangwang is actually a descendant of the Shi Tang King. He's very ambitious. I've rejected his suggestions many times, but because the people he brought with him are quite strong and I don't have the confidence to take him out, I couldn't help but play along with him." Yemo knew this was bullshit, but he was shocked by how much the Northern Sand King knew. Everyone was dumbfounded. That was bullshit. The Northern Sand King trusted Dong Fangwang the most, and each time Dong Fangwang said something, he would always say Brother Dong Fang is right. Since when did he reject his ideas? Dong Fangwang looked at the Northern Sand King and for the first time, he felt like he was a fool. The Northern Sand King clearly knew who he was but didn't kill him so that he could use him. He was sure that even if the Dong Fang brothers had obtained Luo Yu, they wouldn't have been able to get any benefits out of it. The Northern Sand King didn't wait for Dong Fangwang to keep thinking. He pulled out a gun and shot at Dong Fangwang's head. Blood splashed and Dong Fangwang died in his seat just like that. Chapter 8:16 Hunt the Northern Sand King. Chapter 8:16 Hunt the Northern Sand King. Thank you, City Lord Yi, for killing Dong Fangwang's men. Only then could I kill him. The Northern Sand King put the gun down and didn't try to shoot Yemo. It was as though Yemo had really come to help him. Everyone in the room was confused. Anyone else would have shot at Yemo immediately because it was a gun that could kill half-step Great Heaven Masters. Yemo smiled and nodded to the Northern Sand King. Very well then, no need to thank me. It's my honor to be able to do this for the Northern Sand King. But I've done my research. Everyone else here is also Dong Fangwang's men, so that's it, I almost got tricked. The Northern Sand King looked like he was full of hate. He opened fire and killed 3 more. Just when everyone else started to react and tried to escape, the Northern Sand King disappeared. Yemo was shook. He had kept his eyes on the Northern Sand King, but at that moment, he couldn't find the Northern Sand King in his spirit sense at all. The reason he had let the Northern Sand King kill all of those people was because he didn't want the Hidden Sects King on the run while he had killed them. However, he had still gotten away when he was watching him. Yemo couldn't stay there any longer. He shot out a flurry of wind blades and blasted the meeting room apart with fireballs. Although he knew there were lots of secret files and technology in that building, Yemo couldn't care. He focused his spirit sense in a 20-kilometer radius. However, a few minutes later, he still hadn't found the Northern Sand King at all. If they fought, Yemo was sure he could kill the Northern Sand King. However, he hadn't expected the Northern Sand King not to even want to try fight him, and to instead just run away. He was so calculative that he had already planned his escape the moment he had killed Dong Fangwang. If that was the case, then that man was scarier than the Dong Fang brothers. And if he got away, Emo didn't dare to imagine what could happen to Luoyu. At the same time, Emo got on the flying sword and scanned the aerial space. Sisun was in chaos then. All sorts of organizations had come out to try and get power. Emo didn't care. When he arrived at the outskirts of Sisun, he was getting more and more worried. The longer he dragged things on, the more chances the Northern Sand King had to escape. When Emo got near the sea, a ray-like thing darted past the border of Yemo's spirit sense. Emo chased it without thinking. Emo was at his maximum speed, but the shadow still dashed rapidly through the water. It seemed that the figure was a very small submarine. It was rod-shaped, and it was at most 2 m long. Yet, even with Yemo's speed, he couldn't get close to it. Emo could tell without thinking that this thing had been designed by Yixing. However, Emo couldn't understand how the Northern Sand King had gotten on that, and how he had tricked his spirit sense. What is more, how did he get away from the meeting room? The Northern Sand King had decided to run away when Emo killed those half-stepped great heaven and earth level masters without a sound. He knew he was no match for Emo. His specialty wasn't fighting, but hiding and escaping. He was certain that nothing in the world could chase him if he tried to run. However, even with the means he had for running away, he couldn't get rid of Emo. He finally understood that in the wake of absolute power, even if he built the biggest country in the world and controlled the entire world's army, it would be useless. Emo could easily kill him. 2 hours later, Emo was feeling fatigued. He didn't have any more stamina pills, and if he used up all his cultivation essence, the Northern Sand King might really get outside his spirit sense. Comparatively, the energy source of the submarine was probably something that could outlast him easily. If he used up all his cultivation essence and the Northern Sand King turned around to fight him, he would suffer greatly. But he didn't want to let the Northern Sand King go like that. Another hour passed and the Northern Sand King was probably getting bored of staying in the sea, so he started to go near the land. Yemo's spirit sense saw the Northern Sand King pilot the submarine to a beach. He dashed out of the submarine and disappeared. Emo dashed down immediately and placed the submarine into his ring. The Northern Sand King's figure dashed, and Yemo's spirit sense followed it closely. Emo had to approve the Northern Sand King's speed up until then. The Northern Sand King was running on 2 legs, while he was using a flying sword. The Northern Sand King clearly knew that Emo was chasing him and ran without turning around. Emo didn't want to give up, despite having to use a lot of cultivation essence. He suspected that the Northern Sand King was using something there was no way a mutant could reach that speed. He was sure that if he hadn't used the flying sword, he wouldn't have even reached 1/10 of the Northern Sand King's speed. Not even a Foundation establishment state cultivator would be able to run as fast as the Northern Sand King. After chasing for some time, Emo realized they had gotten to China's borderlands. Yemo's face was pale as he held a spirit stone in his hand. He was about to fall of his flying sword because if he kept chasing, he might get heavily injured. But Emo found that the Northern Sand King had also stopped and was sitting on the ground. Emo rejoiced and immediately flew over there slowly. When Emo was just a few hundred meters away from the Northern Sand King, Emo stopped to recover his cultivation essence. However, the Northern Sand King got up to leave again. Emo was shook. He was about to succeed. How could he let the Northern Sand King escape? But when Emo grabbed his flying sword, he found that his cultivation essence had been depleted so much that even if he found a quiet place to recover, it might take a day. The Northern Sand King got up, but he didn't run away. He looked at Emo and laughed. "Emo, you can actually fly. Funny how I thought you were just a mutant. If I had known there was someone in this world who could fly, I would have never built Northern Sand." Emo ignored the Northern Sand King. He walked another 300 meters forward, standing only 10 meters away from the Northern Sand King before stopping. "Emo, if I hadn't attacked Luoyu, would you have still tried to kill me?" the Northern Sand King asked. Emo gasped. "No, I don't offend those who don't offend me. But you've offended me on multiple accounts. The thing I regret the most is offending you. I never thought there would really be someone who could fly in this world. The Northern Sand King looked despaired and said to Emo, I want to ask you one last thing. Emo sneered. Keep dreaming. Die. He sent his flying sword out. Emo felt threatened by the Northern Sand King, so the safest thing would be to kill him first. Chapter 8:17 Strange Adventure Squad. Chapter 8:17 Strange Adventure Squad. As the flying sword neared the Northern Sand King's neck, Emo had a sense of extreme danger, and he moved aside without even having time to think of the reason. Sizzle, a few shimmering beams passed through where Emo stood. At the same time, Emo's flying sword produced a splash of blood as well, and the Northern Sand King's head fell to the ground before rolling to a stop. Emo also knelt on the ground. Even though he reacted immediately, his leg was still hit. The beam passed right through his calves. Emo ate a Lotus Life pill and stopped the bleeding. Emo sat on the ground and sighed. If he didn't kill the Northern Sand King immediately, and gave him the chance to properly use that railgun, he might really have been killed in the end. If the Northern Sand King hadn't been scared and not shot Emo immediately, then the result would have been really hard to predict. Emo was sure that if the Northern Sand King had shot immediately, he would be in a much worse situation. Emo recovered some power and walked up to the Northern Sand King, picking up that gun. Without looking, he knew it was the same type he gave Luoying but just stronger, and its energy source was the Extreme Energy Stone. When Emo looked at the Northern Sand King again, he finally understood why he was so fast. The Northern Sand King's legs were completely pulverized, but Emo was sure he hadn't attacked the Northern Sand King's legs. There were 2 used-up runes tied to his legs. Emo carefully picked up the scraps and pieced them together. His face changed drastically. This was a rune that only Golden Core State cultivators could draw, a God Mobility rune. No wonder he could run so fast. This rune seemed to be high-quality stuff. If it was an ancient martial artist who used this today, he would never have been able to chase up. Where did the Northern Sand King get such a rune? Emo really wanted to know. Emo scanned his spirit sense over the Northern Sand King's body and found another smaller rune in his pocket. A teleportation rune? Emo was shook. He could barely make low-quality God Mobility runes, but even some actual rune masters wouldn't be able to make teleportation runes. Emo knew that this teleportation rune was also high quality. Finally, Emo understood how the Northern Sand King could disappear right in front of him. He seemed to have more than one of these but couldn't use the second one. Emo felt quite lucky. If the Northern Sand King had used the second teleportation rune, he might not have been able to catch him. However, since his legs were ruined, he would eventually be able to find this guy. The Northern Sand King having these runes meant that he had definitely found a cultivation rune before, and it must have been a rather high-level one. Emo searched the Northern Sand King carefully but didn't find anything special. Emo took out a fireball rune from his ring and burned the Northern Sand King's body. Then he slowly left this valley. He had killed the Northern Sand King and annihilated Northern Sand, but he still didn't know who the Northern Sand King was, where he came from, and why he had built Northern Sand. But Emo didn't care. He didn't have to know. He just wanted to find a place to recover his cultivation essence before going to Nanjiang, Wanchu Mountain. But right after Emo finished taking care of the scene, he saw 5 people with big backpacks come over. 3 men and 2 women. Emo didn't want to talk much and sat down. Although he had used up all his cultivation essence, he still had spirit sense and a few fireball runes as well as a rail gun. Although these 5 posed no threat to him, Emo still scanned them with his spirit sense. What surprised Emo was that 4 of them were at the yellow level, while 1 was a black level peak martial artist who could reach the earth level at any time. What shook Emo the most was that the strongest one was the most seductive-looking woman. She had the smallest bag, and the 2 bag straps squeezed her chest out, making it seem very enticing. Accompanied by her exquisite face, this made the 2 yellow levels constantly glance at her chest while gulping down their drool. The other woman was in her 40s and looked average. She was only at the yellow level tertiary stage, but Yemo knew her. She was Huang Mei, the advisor of the Hong Martial gang. One man was also at the yellow level tertiary stage, but he was in his 50s. He had a coarse figure and was walking while looking down. There were 2 fat rabbits hanging off his bag. The 5 got to where Yemo was, and Huang Mei didn't recognize him at first, because she was keeping her head low for some reason. There's someone here, and he's injured. The youngest man spotted Yemo and exclaimed. They all stopped, so Yemo could only say, I'm an adventurer, and I got injured, so I'm just having some rest here. Do as you please. It was nearly dark, yet this injured solo adventurer wasn't asking for help. This was quite strange. Huh! Huang Mei suddenly exclaimed. Yemo sighed. She had probably recognized him. What's wrong, Sister Mei? The prettiest and strongest woman asked Huang Mei, seemingly suspicious. Huang Mei recovered immediately and said awkwardly, This person is injured and it's so late. If we leave him here, he might not survive. That's right, yeah, Sister Mei, you're really kind-hearted. That busted woman blinked her flashy eyes and suddenly took out an exquisite bag. From the bag, she took out a pea-sized pill and said, This is a healing pill, take it. Yemo took the pill and scanned the woman's bag with his spirit sense but didn't speak. The woman laughed. Little brother, you're really lucky. We're also adventurers. I'm Feng Yanqi, the acting captain. How about you come with us? We are in the outskirts of the Duanheng Ranges after all. It's very dangerous to stay here alone at night. I know you also cultivate ancient martial arts, and although you haven't reached the yellow level, you must think you're quite strong. But we are actually. Yemo knew that she was implying that any of them were stronger than him. She was very close to Yemo when she spoke. Her voice was very soft, and she smelled irresistible. Seeing Yemo not talk, the woman said, Brother Chin, how about you help him? Yemo waved his hand and said, No need, I can walk myself. Then he got up. The bag the woman had was filled with all sorts of goo bugs in different colors. She said this was the outskirts of the Duanheng Ranges, which meant that they were near Nanjiang. A woman near Nanjiang who had a bunch of goo. Without thinking, Yemo knew she was from the All-Goo sect. Seeing Yemo get up but not eat the pill, Feng Yanqi laughed. Little brother, do you think I'm going to harm you? Don't worry, I didn't give you aphrodisiacs or anything. This is just to treat your wounds. Moreover, even if I gave you aphrodisiacs, you would be the one gaining, ha ha ha. Yemo was calm. He saw that 50-year-old man was calm too, while Huang Mei blushed a little. As for those 2 younger men, they didn't look too happy. Chapter 8:18. Each having their own plans. Chapter 8:18. Each having their own plans. Huang Mei glanced at Yemo before suddenly saying, Sister Yanqi, it's dark now, so how about we stay here for the night and keep moving tomorrow morning? Feng Yanqi glanced at Huang Mei and smiled sweetly. Okay, we'll stay here for the night then. Sister Mei is really caring, haha. Everyone took out tents from their bags and started setting them up. Soon, it was all set up, but Yemo didn't have a tent of his own. Feng Yanqi looked at Yemo and said enticingly, Little brother, we don't know what your name is yet. Also, how about you come sleep in my tent tonight? Yemo shook his head. My name is Moing, and I've been living outside a lot, so I can sleep outside. Huang Mei took out a big foldable umbrella and gave it to Yemo so that he'd have something for cover. The man who didn't really speak started a fire, and soon roasted the 2 bunnies. Yemo got a share too. Yemo knew that 5 ancient martial artists couldn't get together for no reason. They were either looking for something really important, or they were all tricked there by Feng Yanqi. Yemo really wanted to know why they were there, but he didn't ask. He knew it was best not to. When the 5 people got in their tent, there were no sounds at all. Yemo's spirit sense could tell what everyone was doing. None of them were sleeping. The middle-aged man who had roasted the rabbits started cultivating, while Huang Mei was frowning. As for the 2 younger men, one was cultivating, while the other was being restless. 1 hour later, Feng Yanqi got out of her tent and called outside of Brother Chen's tent. Brother Chun, are you asleep? Brother Chun immediately got out of the tent happily and said, Not yet, Yanchi, come sit inside for a while. We can talk about tomorrow's route. Sure, but I need a bathroom break first, and it's so dark. Feng Yanchi said embarrassingly. Brother Chun immediately understood this as Feng Yanchi being interested in him. Otherwise, she would tell Huang Mei to go with her. Without thinking, he said, How about I go with you, Yanchi? Thank you. Feng Yanchi immediately nodded. The two quietly left the tent. Yi Mo's spirit sense followed the two. There was something dodgy going on. With Feng Yanchi's black level peak power, she would never be afraid to go to the bathroom by herself. Besides, did they need to walk that far? Then, Yi Mo noticed that Huang Mei also got out of her tent. She was in black clothes and really hard to spot. Yi Mo thought she was going to follow them, and wanted to remind her. But instead, Huang Mei went into Feng Yanchi's tent. Yi Mo scanned it with his spirit sense and knew there were a large bunch of marks in Feng Yanchi's tent. Huang Mei wasn't dumb and was able to find out. She ruined the markings Feng Yanchi had left, and then left a pea-sized camera in her tent. Yi Mo knew that Huang Mei was suspicious of Feng Yanchi but wasn't sure, so she needed to gather evidence. But Huang Mei was too inexperienced compared to Feng Yanchi. Feng Yanchi would know for sure that Huang Mei was the one who had come in when she got back. Huang Mei got out of Feng Yanchi's tent immediately as soon as she finished setting up everything. Yi Mo got up helplessly. He had a good impression of Huang Mei, so he decided to help her. He'd recovered some cultivation essence by now, and used invisibility to get into Feng Yanchi's tent and restored the markings Huang Mei had damaged. When Yi Mo came back to his foldable umbrella, he found that Huang Mei hadn't gone to her tent but came to his spot instead. Miss Huang, long time no see. Yi Mo smiled. Huang Mei said, City Lord Yi, why would you be here? Yi Mo smiled. I also wanted to ask that, why are you here? Huang Mei sighed. After I left San Francisco, I tried looking for you. I like military tactics, but I served the wrong person. Xu Hongxing isn't someone who can accomplish great things. I left the Hong Martial Gang wanting to join you, but I couldn't find you. Later, I was taken away by Northern Sand and ended up having to do things for them. Then why are you here? I didn't see you at Northern Sand, right? Yi Mo asked. Huang Mei didn't know what Yi Mo's words meant, and she smiled bitterly. I didn't want to stay in Northern Sand, and when I was doing a mission near Icehelm Island, I saw that our target was you on a screen. I really admire your capabilities, so I wanted to help you. I killed those few people with me, but someone still managed to detonate the bomb at the last minute. Yi Mo was dazed. He didn't think there was someone helping him in that situation. He knew Huang Mei's situation at the time, and although he didn't know how she got away, he was sure she was telling the truth. Yi Mo felt warm. He didn't know Huang Mei, yet she had helped him like that. He really owed her. I had planned on going to Luoyu and expanding my ambitions after helping you there, but I wasn't able to help you in the end. A few years later, I was very happy to hear that you weren't dead, but I no longer had the will to go Luoyu. And then I heard you went missing. Huang Mei seemed a little dejected. Yi Mo suddenly got up and bowed to Huang Mei. No, you did help me. If it wasn't for your help, perhaps I would be dead now. Yi Mo finally understood why the bomb was detonated only tens of seconds after he ran away from the most dangerous place. If it wasn't for Huang Mei, he would be dead for sure. Yi Mo said genuinely to Huang Mei, Sister Mei, you saved my life. If you hadn't delayed the detonation, I wouldn't have gotten out of that cave for sure. Then Yi Mo asked her, Sister Mei, do you cultivate ancient martial arts? Huang Mei knew that Yi Mo wanted to repay her. She immediately nodded. Yes, I cultivate ancient martial arts. After I knew you went missing, I no longer had the will to use my tactics in the world, so I went around touring places and was able to obtain an ancient martial arts cultivation method. Let me test your spirit root first. Yi Mo took out the device. He thought that if Huang Mei had a spirit root, he wouldn't mind teaching her truth cultivation. What is a spirit root? Huang Mei subconsciously asked. Yemo just wanted to answer when his spirit sense scanned Feng Yanqi taking off her pants and squatting on the ground. That brother Chen was right in front of her, and she didn't avoid him at all. She was clearly trying to seduce him. Feng Yanqi's fat white ass appeared in Yemo's spirit sense and made Yemo feel a little uneasy, but he couldn't retrieve his spirit sense now. Yemo had some biological reactions seeing that naked perky ass and quickly gave himself a clear mind spell. Seeing Yemo's uneasy face, Huang Mei immediately asked, "What's wrong? I have some medical pills on me, do you want one?" Yemo came back to his senses and quickly said, "It's nothing, I was just thinking of something." Chapter 8:19 Strange Fetish Feng Yanqi. Chapter 8:19 Strange Fetish Feng Yanqi. It's an earth and wood double spirit root. Yemo saw this and was shocked. Theoretically, there shouldn't be a lot of people on Earth with spirit roots due to the lack of spirit qi. Yet he had found so many people with spirit roots. "What's that?" Huang Mei asked strangely. Yemo said to her, "Huang Mei, thank you for saving my life. You're cultivating ancient martial arts. If you still want to cultivate that, I have a cultivation method that can let you reach above great heaven." Huang Mei was definitely one of the smartest people alive, and after hearing this, she knew Yemo had more to say. So she asked calmly, "Then, does that mean there's other stuff too?" Yemo nodded. "Yes, if you don't want to cultivate ancient martial arts, then cultivate truth like me." "Cultivate truth?" Huang Mei repeated. She had never heard of this before. Yemo hesitated for a moment before saying, "Have you heard about immortals? It's not a legend. The reason there are no immortals now is due to the lack of spirit qi on Earth. Simply put, the ultimate goal of truth cultivation is to ascend to the immortal realm. Of course, that opportunity is very rare, maybe not even 1 out of 100,000 cultivators can ascend." Yemo was talking about Luo Yu continent. What? Huang Mei was dumbfounded by Yemo's words. After a long while, she said shakily, "I must cultivate truth. I must dash." Huang Mei was a hot-blooded person. She couldn't bear doing nothing, and that's why she had chosen to scheme for big people, even if it was a gang. Now, there was something more suitable for her than scheming. How could she not agree? Yemo nodded. He was just about to tell her the specifics of truth cultivation when he saw that Feng Yanqi and Brother Chen were together already. Such a crazy woman! Brother Chen couldn't resist her seduction and hugged her from behind. However, before Brother Chen could go in, she turned around, pushed Brother Chen on the ground and started moving erotically on top of him. "Master, tell me," Huang Mei asked. "Oh, okay." Yemo returned to his senses and looked awkwardly at her. You don't need to call me master, just call me Yemo." Truth cultivation and ancient martial arts begin in similar ways. We unblock our meridians dash. Yemo paused again as he saw Brother Chen gradually getting thinner. It was like the blood in his body was getting sucked away. Yemo didn't scan their private parts with his spirit sense, but he knew that Brother Chen's blood essence was getting sucked into Feng Yanqi through sex. Brother Chen was getting drier and drier, while Feng Yanqi's face became more vibrant and her temperament got stronger. Yemo thought of the dual cultivation methods in the cultivation realm. Some benefited both parties, while some only benefited one side and sucked dry the other person. Feng Yanqi was no truth cultivator, so she couldn't do that. She was probably using a goo bug to do it. Thinking about this, Yemo felt disgusted and that biological reaction went away. He could tell Feng Yanqi really had a strong fetish. Brother Chen looked like a mummy, and yet she was still interested in moving up and down on him. She wasn't going to let go until she had sucked him completely dry. Yemo finally realized that the reason Feng Yanqi had found that group of people was for her cultivation. Yemo wondered about why had Feng Yanqi brought Huang Mei then. Did she have something special planned for her? Yemo subconsciously glanced at Huang Mei. Huang Mei subconsciously shivered at Yemo's glance. She felt Yemo was giving her a weird look. Moreover, Yemo kept on talking and stopping, as though thinking about something. Yemo realized this and immediately said, I'll teach you truth cultivation formally tomorrow night. Huang Mei got up and looked at Yemo. You need to be careful with Feng Yanqi. I feel she's strange. There were 6 of us in the beginning, but the second day, we lost someone. Yemo was dazed at these news. He hadn't thought that Feng Yanqi could have acted so quickly. Brother Chen was the second one. How did you meet her? How did you get together? What purpose do you have here? Yemo asked in surprise. But as soon as he finished speaking, he felt Feng Yanqi's power increase again. She had reached Earth level. Huang Mei was about to start talking when Yemo stopped her. Go back to your tent first. We'll talk tomorrow night. Feng Yanqi is about to come back. How do you know? Huang Mei subconsciously asked, but she immediately nodded and went out. She knew it must be related to truth cultivation. As soon as Huang Mei got back, she heard Feng Yanqi return and scream. Yemo, Huang Mei and the other 2 men got out of their tents. They found that Feng Yanqi had ran back with tattered clothes while calling. Quickly! Go save Yinzhu! What happened? Yanqi, the other man in his 30s asked. Feng Yanqi immediately said, Yinzhu fell off the cliff. Hurry and save him! Her eyes were full of worry. What happened to little Chen? The middle-aged man who didn't usually speak suddenly asked. The 2 men went to the cliff Feng Yanqi led them to and shone the torch down. However, it was bottomless. How did Chen Yizhu fall down from here? The man in his 30s asked with a strange tone. Feng Yanqi wiped her eyes. I wanted to go to the toilet at night, but I was scared to go by myself, so I asked Brother Chen to come with me. Then, after I was done, I twisted my ankle trying to get up and Brother Chen quickly came. He hugged me. You were doing your business next to the cliff? Huang Mei asked strangely. Feng Yanqi said in embarrassment. No, it's quite far from here. But when I had just gotten up, Brother Chen hugged me, and because my pants weren't tied up, he. Everyone knew what she meant. Chen Yinzhu was indeed keen for Feng Yanqi. Feng Yanqi didn't seem to mind what other people thought and said, I struggled a few times, but Brother Chen hugged me tighter. And then I couldn't resist anymore, and in our excitement, we actually went next to the cliff. Brother Chen accidentally tripped over. Weep, I did this to him. Yemo sighed. That woman was really good at acting. If he hadn't seen everything with his spirit sense, he might have even believed her. But it was true that she really couldn't resist anymore, and that she had indeed harmed Brother Chen. Everyone fell silent. The other young man in his 30s had a bleak face. He hadn't expected Chen Yinzhu to evade him and go alone with Feng Yanqi. At the same time, he looked contemptuously at Feng Yanqi. She was clearly a pretty and busty woman, but she had had a liking for a man like Chen Yinzhu, and had taken a dump outside in the middle of the night. Let's go back first, it's too late. There has been no way for us to find him. We'll talk about it tomorrow morning, the middle-aged man said. Huang Mei suddenly said on the way, I heard there's a type of ghost in the mountains that leads people to places they don't want to go subconsciously at night. Women are more likely targets, as their yen qi isn't strong. Ha! Feng Yanqi screamed at this and subconsciously looked at Yemo. Chapter 820, Realization. Chapter 820, Realization. Huang Mei was very smart, and immediately said, Emoing, could you come sleep in my tent? I have 2 sleeping bags. Otherwise, I'll be really scared at night. Everyone was dazed at this. They had been with Huang Mei for quite a few days and knew she was a very conservative woman. Although she was average-looking, her body wasn't bad, and she was mature. Everyone would have some thoughts about such an overnight invitation. Feng Yanqi was dazed too after hearing Huang Mei's words. She rejoiced. She wanted to stay in the same tent with Yemo, and Huang Mei's words were a gift. Although she wouldn't suck Essence blood in the tent, she would have something to do at night with a sturdy and good-looking man. And, although this Emoing was injured, his smell was very good. She didn't mind letting such a man sleep with her. She was far from having had enough fun with just Chen Yinzhu. Yemo applauded Huang Mei's wits. This way, he could go to her tent without needing to find an excuse. The middle-aged man also glanced strangely at Huang Mei's odd actions. But no one said anything. Yemo knew why Huang Mei told him to go to her tent. Before he taught her the cultivation method, he asked how everyone met. Apparently, Feng Yanqi used an underground ancient martial arts auction to gather the people to explore an ancient martial arts ruin in Wuchugua. But he knew that Feng Yanqi was just looking for some resources to feed her cultivation. You all believed what she said? Yemo asked. Huang Mei shook her head. Of course I wouldn't believe it just like that, but she took out a very ancient metal card which had a map carved into it. She said she had gone there before but that the place needed 5 people at the same time to be opened, so she invited us. Brother Xiao also confirmed the card to be of an ancient martial arts ruin. Yemo knew that Brother Xiao Shui, was the oldest man there. Thinking about the Yan Wuliang he killed, he took out a metal card from his ring and said, Does the metal card look something like this? Huang Mei grabbed it immediately and asked in shock. How can you have this metal card too? It's exactly the same as the one Feng Yanqi has. Yemo nodded. He was sure that Feng Yanqi was one of those core disciples of the Algu sect. Do you understand Feng Yanqi? Do you know how strong she is? Yemo asked. Huang Mei was dazed and asked Yemo, Do you also suspect her? I'm very suspicious of her, but I can't think of what her purpose is. I think she's about the same level as us, at least yellow level tertiary stage. Same level as you? Yemo sneered. She's at the earth level primary stage. It would be all too easy for her to kill all of you. What? Huang Mei was truly stunned. Earth level? Huang Mei murmured. Black level was already an insurmountable mountain for her. Earth level was a thing of the legends. Yemo nodded. That's right, but she just reached Earth level tonight. She's from the All Goo sect, and she uses goo bugs to cultivate. This makes her much faster than ordinary ancient martial artists. Yemo kept asking, Do you know how that Chininju died tonight? Huang Mei knew what Yemo meant and said in shock. Are you saying Feng Yanqi killed him? Why did she kill him? Huang Mei was suspicious of her, but Feng Yanqi had no reason to kill. Yemo said plainly. She has 10,000 reasons to kill. Chininju is just the start. She's from the All Goo sect, and she uses sex to suck men's essence blood to increase her own power. Those who have all their essence blood sucked dry all die. Huang Mei's face blushed hearing this. She didn't understand why Feng Yanqi brought her to then, but she couldn't ask Yemo that. But she knew that if she hadn't met Yemo, she wouldn't even know how she died. This extremely pretty woman Feng Yanqi had the heart of a scorpion. This made her shiver. Seeing that the atmosphere was awkward, Huang Mei immediately said, I can have a look at what she's doing. She took out a camera and opened it, showing the inside of Feng Yanqi's tent. Yemo still said, Don't put cameras in her tent anymore. She would be able to know each time you went in. No way, I was very careful each time, and the cameras are very small and wireless. Huang Mei subconsciously rebuked. Yemo shook his head. I'm not saying she saw your camera, I'm saying if you enter her tent, she would be able to know. As though to prove Yemo's words, the camera feed showed Feng Yanqi spin around her tent and murmur to herself. Strange, she didn't come to my tent today. Huang Mei's face burst red. Yemo said, I wiped the marks you made today. Feng Yanqi then said, She sure knows how to enjoy life, calling a pretty boy to her tent to enjoy. Old cow eating young grass. She's clearly so thirsty, yet acts so conservative. How dare you take my man? I'm going to show you what's good dash. Clap. Huang Mei shut the camera screen as her face was red with anger. Seeing Huang Mei about to throw it away, Yemo took it. This is quite high-tech, I'll keep it if you don't mind. Huang Mei calmed down and said, I wouldn't have thought that everything I saw was all an act. This woman really knows how to put on a show. But by the way, how did you know that so clearly? Yemo shook his head and didn't answer. I'll teach you truth cultivation now. After Huang Mei found out about truth cultivation, the small world and the cultivation realm, she was completely dumbfounded. Everything Emo said was beyond her comprehension. One night passed quickly. The next morning, everyone got up to pack their things. No one brought up to look for Chinese Zhu. Everyone knew that he was 100% dead after falling down from such a high cliff. However, Feng Yanqi took all of Chinichi's stuff and burned it at the cliff while crying. Chapter 821 Huang Mei Leaves. Chapter 821 Huang Mei leaves at noon. The five stopped to rest at a valley. Only Feng Yanqi and that Ge Liangzhong guy kept talking. Xiao Shui was speaking even less. Yemo noticed he kept frowning too. "I'll go look for something to eat, you have a rest." Xiao Shui said he would be going to find food like usual. However, Feng Yanqi stopped him and said, "Brother Xiao, it's always been you looking for food. This time I'll go get something, you guys wait here." Yemo looked strangely at her. Thinking of everyone there as her prey, how could she let them go? But then Yemo immediately understood that with her having reached her goal of Earth level, these prey weren't as useful as before. "Yanqi, I'll go with you, this is the wilderness," Ge Liangzhong said. Hearing this, Yemo immediately knew that Feng Yanqi had calculated this. Yemo was sure that as soon as she was finished with Ge Liangzhong, she would come back and kill the three of them. After she killed Ge Liangzhong, everyone else would be suspicious of her 100% anyway. "Okay, then I'll set up a tent first." Xiao Shui laughed, and Yemo could clearly see actual joy in his eyes. Feng Yanqi didn't think much of it, and immediately went into the mountains to look for prey with Ge Liangzhong. As soon as Feng Yanqi left, Xiao Shui picked up his bag and said to Huang Mei and Yemo, "I don't want to go to Wanchu Mountain anymore. I'm leaving. If you want to leave too, you can go with me." Xiao Shui didn't expect Huang Mei to smile and say, "Brother Xiao, you're probably suspicious of Feng Yanqi too, right? That's why you want to leave so suddenly." Xiao Shui was a little surprised but didn't deny it. He nodded and said, "Yes, I've suspected her for a long time, but I only confirmed it now. I suspect that she killed Chen last night. We didn't need to walk so long to get here either, but she kept taking detours." Huang Mei nodded. "Brother Xiao, you're right. She's from the Algu sect and Chinese Zhu died due to getting all his essence blood sucked out. So I was planning to remind you anyways." "You know? So you're willing to leave with me?" Xiao Shui said in joy. "Brother Xiao, since you suspect her, why aren't you inviting us to attack her together?" Huang Mei asked in surprise. Xiao Shui shook his head and didn't speak. He didn't have any evidence, and it wasn't good to kill people like that. Huang Mei saw this and knew what he was thinking. She sneered, "Brother Xiao, you might not know that she's actually Earth level." "What?" As Xiao Shui heard this, he immediately said, "I'll be going now then." Yemo nodded to Huang Mei. "You should hurry up and leave too, she'll be back pretty quickly this time." "Are you not going, Emoing?" Xiao Shui looked at Yemo in surprise. Huang Mei was also surprised, but she knew that Yemo would definitely not lose to Feng Yanqi, so she didn't say anything. Yemo smiled. "I still have some things to do." Xiao Shui realized that Yemo was probably not afraid of Feng Yanqi, and Huang Mei probably also knew about Feng Yanqi through Yemo. After seeing the two off, Yemo's spirit sense scanned Feng Yanqi again. "Sister Huang Mei, who is that Emoing? He's not even scared of all Gu sect members?" Xiao Shui asked. Huang Mei said, "Brother Xiao, although I know who he is, before he agrees I can't tell you. But he's definitely not afraid of her. By the way, where are you planning on going?" Xiao Shui didn't mind too much and said, "I heard that my second brother is in Luoyu, so I'm planning on joining him." "You want to go to Luoyu?" Huang Mei asked in shock. Xiao Shui nodded. "Yes, I feel like going to Luoyu would be for the best. I'm also planning on going to Luoyu, but I still have some business in Jingshui. Otherwise, I could go with you," Huang Mei said casually. "I can go with you to Jingshui then. I only heard that my second brother is in Luoyu, but I'm not sure if he really is." If you know someone at Luoyu, maybe you can help me find him, Xiao Shui immediately said. Huang Mei smiled. Of course, what's your second brother's name? There's a few million people in Luoyu, it's not easy to find someone, Xiao Shui said. My second brother's called Su Ping. He was a little stronger than me before, so he's probably at the black level by now. Also, my name is not Xiao Shui, it's Xiao Chandong. Huang Mei didn't mind. If your second brother is black level, then things should be much easier. There shouldn't be a lot of black levels even in Luoyu. Yumo's spirit sense scanned at Feng Yanqi as she devoured Gu Liang's own whole and started turning back with dissatisfaction. She didn't even bother going hunting. Why is it only you? Where are the other two? Feng Yanqi was surprised. Yemo said casually. Brother Xiao said that he was familiar with this place, and told Huang Mei that he's been here before. They talked for a bit, and decided they didn't want to go to Wanchu Mountain anymore, so they left. They told me to tell you about it when you came back. Hearing this, Feng Yanqi's face flickered, and she looked at the direction they left in. She thought that they must have suspected her, and that this Mo-ing was sacrificed by them. Then why didn't you go with them? Feng Yanqi's tone was very calm. Yemo said casually. People say that wealth can only be sought in danger. They don't care about the ruin, but I only just started cultivating ancient martial arts, so I do care about it. I want to go on this adventure with you and explore this ancient martial arts ruin. Feng Yanqi had a sliver of scorn in her eyes, but she soon recovered and studied Yemo before shaking her head. Okay, then follow me. There will be plenty of benefits for you. Although Yemo was weak and his essence blood wasn't very helpful to her, she could keep a good-looking man to satisfy her on hand. She couldn't do anything to him for the next couple of days anyway, as she needed time to consolidate her power as the golden magical goo was about to come out. Yemo didn't interrogate Feng Yanqi. He just wanted her to lead the way. Yemo thought Feng Yanqi would try to sleep with him at night, and he was ready to interrogate her if he got annoyed, but what he didn't expect was that for the following day and night, she didn't even speak much to him. Another day later, Feng Yanqi took Yemo into the Wanchu mountain ranges. She had digested all the essence blood she'd obtained and was fully at the earth-level primary stage. Now, she looked even more vibrant and seductive. Little brother, can you carry me on your back? My legs are sore from walking these days. Feng Yanqi returned to her seductive self and didn't mind rubbing her busted chest on Yemo's arms at all. Chapter 822, All Gu Sect People. Chapter 822, All Gu Sect People. Ha ha ha, martial sister Feng, how about martial brother carry you for a while? This little handsome boy won't be able to resist your suction. A deep male voice sounded. A man with a dark face in his 40s landed next to Yemo and Feng Yanqi. Yemo long had known that this guy was already there. Yemo guessed that among the few core disciples, Feng Yanqi was probably the weakest. Although she was at Earth-level primary stage, how was she going to get the golden magical goo? Ha martial brotherly, if you can carry martial sister, I would be even happier, but I think my man will get jealous. Feng Yanqi didn't seem to mind the man's sudden arrival at all. Your man! He dash. Martial brotherly laughed and looked at Yemo. Then he said, I didn't think martial sister Feng would be able to resist for so long. You haven't touched him yet. Don't let Wengu take interest in him and steal it from you. Then, another person came and he was even faster than martial brotherly. Someone sneered. Li, you're saying bad things about your big sister again. Are you asking for a beating or do you just want to fuck? Yemo almost vomited at such words. This person was in her 60s and the skin on her face was like old tree's bark. Her chest was dry and the teeth black. Yemo frowned. What was up with All Gu sect? The people they trained were all zombies and strange people, except for the good-looking Feng Yanqi. Meanwhile, Nine Moon sect was also evil, but most of the people were good-looking. He dash. Martial brotherly clearly feared the old woman, so he didn't say anything. This one is not bad. Wengu saw Yemo and said in surprise. Then, She looked coldly at Feng Yanqi. Feng Yanqi quickly said, "He's MOing. I found him on the way here. If Sister Wen likes him, then take him." "Okay, thank you, Sister Yanqi." The old woman then looked at Emo. "Follow me, there'll be plenty of joy for you." The woman was already at Earth level tertiary stage. Emo and the others all followed her into the mountain. An hour later, they arrived to a cliff. It was joined to the other side by metal chains. Clouds surrounded the chains. Just with a tiny slip, one wouldn't even have a whole body. Wengu got on the chain without hesitation and moved forward rapidly. Emo jumped on the chain as well and followed Wengu. The three of them were surprised. However, when they saw Emo take very heavy steps on the chain, they realized that Emo could do this due to experience and skillfulness. Meanwhile, they were using mobility techniques. The chain was very long, so Emo walked for more than 10 minutes before reaching the other side. The other three found impressive that Emo could walk to the other side with his skills. Wengu looked at Emo and laughed sharply. "Quite talented! I really don't want to ruin you, perhaps you should be my disciple." Emo's spirit sense had scanned the cave that Hong Guangping had talked about. It was indeed an ancient cave and there were already 2 men waiting there. There was a man with a black mask and as soon as Emo saw him, he was furious. It was that demon Song Yangzhu talked about, his face was like a crater. The other person was a good-temperament middle-aged man. Emo felt that the middle-aged man was familiar. He felt like he had seen the man somewhere before. But Emo didn't find the golden magical goo with his spirit sense, so he didn't do anything. He wanted to see what it was. Feng Yanqi laughed. "Big martial brother must be there already. Let's hurry up. As for this MOing, you can take him as your disciple and also let him warm your bed. Why be conflicted, martial Sister Wen?" "That's true." Wengu smiled at Feng Yanqi. Yet, her strange glance made Feng Yanqi subconsciously shiver. Emo sighed. Even someone as heartless as Feng Yanqi was scared of that old hag. There was mist all around the cliff. Emo saw a big stone tablet with the words All Goo Mountain. The group soon arrived at a big cave. Emo searched inside with his spirit sense, and found out that the cave had just been dug out no longer than 20 years ago. "Martial Brother G." Everyone was very respectful to that black-masked man and greeted him first. Emo was shook. That Martial Brother G was probably Ji Lai, the one Hong Guangping had talked about. Did he have such authority? Then, why did he still organize this tournament? Couldn't he just take the golden magical goo? Ji Lai nodded and looked at Emo. "Since it's a tournament between our sect members, why did you bring someone irrelevant?" Feng Yanqi quickly said. "This is MOing, Martial Sister Wen's new disciple, so he counts as a member of the All Goo sect." Emo heard this and immediately realized that the others weren't really afraid of Ji Lai, or Feng Yanqi wouldn't be telling such obvious lies. As expected, Ji Lai just reproached her and did nothing. He didn't understand why Ji Lai, who was half-stepped great heaven, still was threatened by them. "Why is Hong Guangping not here yet?" Ji Lai's old voice sounded. "Martial Brother Ji, he's probably dead or he wouldn't be late." The middle-aged man spoke. Ji Lai nodded. "These years, our sect members either go missing or die. We're indeed far weaker than other sections. Your big brother also went missing after being hunted at Hong Kong. Yan Wuliang is also said to have been killed more than 10 years ago." The middle-aged man had a cruel look and cursed. "After this, I will get revenge for my big brother. No matter who killed him, I, Renshi, will make his entire family pay." Emo then realized that Renshi was Rensha's brother. No wonder he looked familiar. Although everyone from the sect was there and Emo could kill them, he was still waiting for the golden magical goo. Since he's not here, we won't wait for him. There is still half a day before the golden magical goo shows up. "Let's wait here," Ji Lai said and sat down. "Martial Brother Ji, do you think our powers are enough?" Li Man asked. Ji Lai scanned Feng Yanqi and said, "Martial Sister Feng has reached Earth level. 5 Earth levels is enough to break the barrier of the golden magical goo. Chapter 823 Disaster. Chapter 823 Disaster. All 5 sect members found a place to sit, and Emo did as well, as though he really was an all-goo sect member. Feng Yanqi thought she knew Emo well, so seeing Emo calmly sit down after seeing all this, she started to frown and suspect Emo. He didn't ask her about anything, not even the Marshall brothers that suddenly appeared. But she didn't care too much. Even if Emo was fishy, she didn't have to fear him. Emo being so young, no matter how much of a genius he was, he couldn't be much higher than black level. Not to mention, so what if Emo was at the earth level? Emo kept his spirit sense out after sitting down. He wanted to know how this golden magical goo would appear. But instead, he saw the small movements of the 5 sect members. A goo bug appeared below Rinshi and burrowed into the earth quietly before it slid towards a smooth part of the stone wall. When Gu, Marshall Brotherly, and Feng Yanqi all had goo bugs appear below them, and the bugs were all crawling towards the same direction. When Gu let out too. What made Emo curious was that the strongest Ji-Lai didn't do anything. Yemo's spirit sense scanned that smooth stone wall, and he was shocked to find that his spirit sense seemed to sink into nothing. When he forced his spirit sense in, his spirit sea experienced a piercing pain as though the spirit sense was devoured by the wall. This stone wall was too strange. Emo quickly took back his spirit sense. 3 or 4 hours later, Emo felt the earth below him shake. Was it an earthquake? Emo stood up immediately in shock. The other 5 also got up. The passage is open, Marshall Brotherly said in excitement. As soon as he said this, that smooth wall disappeared, and a cold gust of wind blew by. Then, a black stairway appeared in front of them. There was still rumbling audible inside the tunnel, as though someone was smashing the wall with a hammer. You go in first, Wen Gu ordered Emo coldly. Marshall sister Wen, you're too careful. This passage opens once every 50 years, countless all-Gu sect Qianbei have been in there before, Ji-Lai said, but he still let Emo go in first. Emo kept a calm face and didn't reject. He carefully went into the tunnel. He wasn't planning on doing anything before seeing the golden magical goo. He could only send his spirit sense a little more than 10 meters into the ground. Emo felt that there was a formation there. This was the second place he found which was related to truth cultivators, which made him believe even more that there used to be truth cultivators on Earth. Emo didn't go very fast, and he found that the second to follow was actually Feng Yanqi. After her came Marshall Brotherly, then Wen Gu, and the last was Ji-Lai. But what shook Emo was that all 5 goo bugs had entered Ji-Lai's body, and Ji-Lai seemed like he hadn't noticed at all. Emo was dazed. This wasn't right, but Emo didn't think much about it as the tunnel was getting colder and colder. When Emo walked about 300 meters further, his eyebrows started getting frosty. The others all had ice all over them. In order not to make them suspicious, Emo started to shiver and walk slower too. Just when Emo was considering how long he should keep up the act, he saw a big, black stone hall. There was something in it 2 football-sized eggs on the middle of a stone table. There was a dark barrier around it protecting the stone table. This was probably the golden magical goo egg. This dark barrier was a defensive formation which was powered by spirit stones, but the spirit stones didn't have enough spirit power, so the barrier was dark-colored. Probably every 50 years, people from the sect would attack this barrier for the 2 big eggs. Emo knew that there didn't even need to be 5 people. Any one of them could easily break it. The barrier wouldn't last long anymore even if they left it alone. Since he was here, he decided to keep up the act. Emo jumped into the stone room immediately. The other 5 all had their attention caught by the golden magical goo and entered as well. They ignored Emo and surrounded the barrier. This is the egg of the magical goo? It's so big! Feng Yanqi said in shock and then stood obediently on the side as she looked at Ji-Lai. Ji-Lai saw everyone look at him, and he nodded. I'll have a look. He took out a double-sided axe and smashed at the barrier. The people watched in shock as the barrier immediately cracked. They were all dumbfounded. They didn't even work together. How did this barrier break? After the barrier broke, more frost wind started blowing from the crack, and the stone room got even colder. At this moment, Ji-lai suddenly sneered and took out 4 gus which he squished into a pulp. Marshal Brotherly screamed and rolled around on the ground, clearly due to his life goo dying. Meanwhile, that Ren Shi and Wen Gu just spat some blood. On the other hand, Feng Yanqi was fine, as though it wasn't her goo at all. Yemo thought, so Ji-lai didn't know that they had released their goo at him. However, Ren Shi and Wen Gu didn't spit essence blood, so they had planned for this. Meanwhile, that Marshal Brotherly seemed to be truly injured. Then, Ji-lai sneered at the 4. We haven't even gotten the golden magical goo yet, and you've already teamed up against me. No wonder there are less and less sect members nowadays. It's because of people like you. That Marshal Brotherly knew he had lost all his cultivation, and he struggled to point at Feng Yanqi. Feng Yanqi, you B***tch, you betrayed us! Feng Yanqi looked calm. Marshal Brotherly, why do you only call me out? Marshal Brotherly said hatefully. All 3 of us are injured, while only you are fine. You dash. Feng Yanqi looked at Marshal Brotherly in contempt. If I say that Marshal Sister Wen and Marshal Brother Ren didn't even spit their own blood, will you get more angry? Marshal Brotherly suddenly stopped and looked at Wen Gu and Ren Shi, who didn't say anything. He opened his mouth wide open. Then, he spat more blood and fainted. Ji-lai suddenly pulled off his mask, showing his crater-like face, and clapped his hands. How fun, you guys joined up against me. But in the end, the 3 of you didn't use your life goo and let Li Buqing suffer greatly. Feng Yanqi smiled sweetly. Li Buqing didn't understand his own position. I've never thought of harming Elder Marshal Brother. I know Elder Marshal Brother is all too powerful. I might as well commit suicide instead of trying to harm Marshal Brother. Chapter 824, The Final Winner. Chapter 824, The Final Winner. I would never attack Big Marshal Brother. If something happened to our Big Marshal Brother, then all Gu's sect would be over. I feel it's better to let Big Marshal Brother have the golden magical goo. And she said. Then, he glanced at Li Buqing and sneered. You're just a clown. HMPF. Wen Gu sneered unhappily. She looked at Ji-lai and said, I just want 1 egg, I'll leave immediately. Ji-lai heard this and took out a bright red goo. He said to her coldly, Wen, you old hag, I've dealt with you for a long time. Don't you see that I can easily squeeze your life away? As soon as Wen Gu saw the goo bug in Ji-lai's hands, her face changed drastically, and she started shivering. Yemo knew that Wen Gu had let out 2 goo bugs, while Ji-lai had just killed 4, which meant that there was 1 more. You forced out the same heart goo? What were your words that day? We all swore that if anyone used the same heart goo to hurt the other, we would be burned to death. You went against your oath. Wen Gu was shaking with anger. Yemo had heard of this goo before. It needed a man and woman who loved each other to plant it. It was said to be very hard to pull out. Ji-lai sneered. That's right, I made an oath. But I said that whoever revokes the oath will be burned to death by fire without root. However, I've only heard of water without root, not fire without root. So, do you think my words are meaningful? You're so hideous, Wen Gu said. Ji-lai looked at her in contempt. What oath did you make? You clearly heard my oath, but you said that if you went against the oath, you would be like me. You scorpion-hearted woman! In order for me to give my virginity to you, you used the goo to eat everything on my face, making me what I am now. Do you think I don't know? Shameless B***tch. Even without the golden magical goo, I will still kill you. Ji-lai kept talking. Name a man in the all-goo sect who you've slept with that didn't get their face ruined. Shui Sihu Yen Wuliang, Kong Shao I, can you count them all? I'm going to kill you! Wen Gu suddenly jumped up and charged at Ji-lai. However, Yemo could feel that although she seemed very angry, she was very calm. Ji Lai didn't seem to see her attack, and he just gently squeezed the goo in his hand. Arg! A cry sounded. Yet what shook everyone including Emo was that the one howling was Ji Lai, not Wengu. What was going on? While Ji Lai was rolling on the ground, Wengu took out a whip and sliced Ji Lai's arm off. Ji Lai went next to Ren Shi in order to dodge Wenwu. Ren Shi, who had just said he would never attack his big martial brother, took out a curved sword immediately and stabbed Ji Lai in the back. Ji Lai knew that he wouldn't be able to dodge it completely, he could only make sure it wouldn't damage his vitals. However, the hack still landed on Ji Lai. Ren Shi was going to attack again, seeing that it hadn't caused a fatal wound. However, before he could, Ji Lai kicked him from a weird angle. Ji Lai's kick landed right on Ren Shi's chest, sending him flying onto the wall. He landed crashing down and spitting mouthfuls of blood. Feng Yanqi, who was about to move, suddenly stopped, which gave some room for Ji Lai to breathe. He leaned against the corner of the wall and stabilized himself. Seeing that Feng Yanqi hadn't taken her best chance, Wengu looked coldly at her. Why didn't you attack? We had an agreement. Feng Yanqi couldn't say a complete sentence, as though she was truly scared. Only Emo could tell that she was lying. Hurt, she was calm. Emo knew that she was smart. If she had attacked just then, she could have indeed thrown a heavy blow to Ji Lai. However, Ji Lai's counterattack would have rendered her no better than Ren Shi's. If that had happened, she'd be dead. Wengu, you're waiting for me to injure Yanqi and then take all the benefit for yourself. Ji Lai took a few pills and stared coldly at her. I know I fell for it today, but I want to know, since when can you force out the same heart goo? Don't you want to ask me when I planted the goo in your body? Wengu scorned. Ji Lai sneered. No need, I was too careless. You planted 2 goo when I came, including your own same heart goo inside my body. Your goo master skills exceed mine by far. Wengu's expression sunk down. She stared at Ji Lai for a long time before saying, Martial brother Ji, I never did anything wrong to you in the past, yet you betrayed me again and again. I killed one after the other, but then I realized that my hands were getting sore from killing your women. You had too many. You made a fake oath and you even forced out your same heart goo. Wengu seemed to be reminiscing and said, I realized the day you forced out the same heart goo. I hid outside your room, watching you *ck another woman, hearing your sinister curses against me. I wanted to kill you immediately, but I knew that if I appeared, you wouldn't even need to attack me. You would just have to kill my same heart goo to kill me. From that day, I swore that I would make you die from your same heart goo. Gee, now you may die. Ji Lai looked like he had given up hope. He was heavily injured and facing Wengu's full-powered strike. He would die for sure. However, he still fought for a chance. He spat out more blood while a dark gray goo charged at Wengu. No one except for Emo knew that Wengu had suddenly turned around, so the whip hit Feng Yanqi. Feng Yanqi was holding her weapon already, ready to ambush Wengu. Wengu would get heavily injured too if she tried to kill Ji Lai, so she only needed to predict Wengu's exit to be able to kill her. After that ambush, she would be the only one there with the power to take the golden magical goo. Feng Yanqi didn't think Wengu would let a big enemy go attack a noob like her. The whip hit Feng Yanqi's chest and the clothes in front of her chest were immediately torn open. A deep cut reached from her shoulder all the way to her leg. Feng Yanqi was thrown onto the wall without resistance and fell on the ground. Her face was white. Soon, blood seeped out of the wound, which turned into a dark red color. Feng Yanqi covered her wound, but she knew that wasn't enough to stop the bleeding. There seemed to be relief in her eyes. Wengu had just pulled her whip from Feng Yanqi when Ji Lai's goo snuck inside her body. She took a few steps back and spat out some blood immediately. Then, she tore open her chest and took out a goo. She put it in her mouth and munched it immediately. The goo was pulverized and Ji Lai spat more blood, falling on the ground. Ha! I'm going to let you all see who the final winner is. It's me! It's me! Wengu laughed. But she suddenly stopped. She was kicked in the air and thrown into Ji Lai's arms. She spat more blood and some pieces of organs, and looked back in disbelief at Li Buqing. Li Buqing got up slowly and said quietly, "The final winner should be me." Chapter 825, Yimo's Legend. Chapter 825, Yimo's Legend. Li Changqing, you bastard! You used another gu to fake your life gu! When Gu pointed at Li Changqing, shaking in anger. She wasn't even able to get up and get separated from Ji Lai. Those two worst enemies hugged each other even before their death. Li Changqing bowed and showed a warm smile. "Martial Sister Wen, you've wronged me by saying that. I really did use my life gu, but I long found out how to plant 2 life gu inside my body." The satisfaction on Li Changqing's face was obvious. "Great, great! I always thought that I was the #1 gu master in all gu sects since I was able to force out the same heart gu, but the real master is you." Ji Lai was shaking. Li Changqing saluted with his fists and said, "Thank you for your recognition, martial brother. After martial brothers and sisters go to the immortal world, I will bring all Gu's sect to its peak with the golden magical Gu." It was as though he was actually thanking martial brother Ji for his compliment. Then Li Changqing picked up the curved sword on the ground. He walked to Ren Shi and cut his head off. Li Changqing was very astute, Yemo thought. He knew that although Rishi was unconscious, if he had woken up, perhaps he would have been the strongest there. Then, Li Changqing didn't go kill Ji Lai or Wen Gu. He walked up to Yemo. Theoretically, Yemo supposed the smallest threat. Li Changqing was too careful. "Emoing, sorry I harmed you. I shouldn't have taken you here," unexpectedly Feng Yanqi said. It was clear that she didn't have long to live. Then she said to Li Changqing, "Martial brotherly, kill me first. I have wanted to stop living for long." Li Changqing smiled. "Don't worry, Martial Sitter Feng, I still need to do something with you before you can die. You have great essence blood on you, can I give it to someone else?" At this moment, everyone realized that if Li Changqing wanted to do things with Feng Yanqi, he had to kill Yemo first. Then Li Changqing turned to Wen Gu and said, "Martial Sister Wen, don't worry. If I can break through, I will also have some fun with you. I really want to know if your body is like your face after I strip you. But even if it is, I wouldn't mind." Yemo felt disgusted. Li Changqing was already odd-looking and he had such a weird taste. He even liked a tree-skinned woman like Wen Gu. The all-Gu sect members were all queers. But Yemo was curious about Feng Yanqi's words. He got up, as though he could no longer feel the cold. He didn't even look at Li Changqing, and he said to Feng Yanqi, "I don't think you're such a kind-hearted person. That night, you sucked Chiniyiju dry to reach Earth level and then you dumped him off the cliff. I don't see you being soft-hearted at all. The second day, you sucked Gu Liangzhong dry in a cave, and you were very decisive too. Why did you say sorry today? That's not your character." Then Yemo shook his head as though he really didn't understand. When he said this, everyone froze and stared at Yemo, who had spoken so casually and fearlessly. After a long while, Feng Yanqi said in shock, "You're no ordinary person indeed. That night I didn't even know you were watching. Just who are you?" Feng Yanqi was a little fearful, even though she knew she was about to die. She had been enjoying a man when she hadn't even noticed someone else was watching on the side. He had even seen the specific details of what she had done. Was he a ghost? How could someone like that be scared of her? No wonder he was so calm. "Just who are you?" Li Changqing stopped and looked at Yemo vigilantly. Yemo said plainly, "More than 10 years ago, I killed someone called Ren Sha in Hong Kong, and then some Yan Wuliang on the sea. A few days ago by the Yan River, I killed Hong Guangping. I heard they're all from the All-Gu sect, so in order to avoid seeing trash like them again I came here to kill them all. Pity I didn't even need to do anything and you guys solved the problem." "You're Yemo?" The 4 of them called out at the same time. Li Changqing started to shiver. He knew he was less than an insect in Yemo's eyes. "That's right, I'm Yemo. Yimo's reply made them sink into an ice hole. Feng Yanqi knew she was going to die, so she didn't care that much. However, when Gu, Ji Lai and Li Changqing, whom all had other cards, froze their thoughts. In China, no, in the entire world, there were so many legends about Yimo. Almost all powers who went against him were annihilated, no matter how powerful or strong they were. Yimo not only dominated the entire ancient martial arts world, he also had built his own country, beating the strongest country in the world too. Among the big families and powers in the world, as well as the hidden sects, the number one rule was to not mess with Yimo. Li Changqing and the others hadn't lived in seclusion, hence they knew what Yimo had done recently. He had gone missing for more than 10 years, and the first thing he had done when he came back was to pull out the Dongfang family from the roots of Luoyu. Then, he had taken the strongest ancient martial arts cultivation method away in front of all the hidden sections. Yet, no one in the world dared to have any thoughts about it. Only Yimo could make people stop in front of such treasure. A few days ago, Northern Sand had also been pulled out from its roots. All the hierarchy system got slaughtered and cleaned. It was said that the original government took control of the country again. The first thing the government had done was to establish good relations with Luoyu. The Northern Sand that had dominated the world for decades got annihilated in one night. Not only that, even the Northern Sand King was said to have been killed by Yimo. One could see Yimo's power, and yet he had gone there. Li Changqing and the others knew that no matter what, they wouldn't be able to escape from Yimo. Clank. Li Changqing dropped the curved sword and kneeled to Yimo. He didn't even have the courage to resist. Yi Qianbei, have mercy. I'm willing to be your dog. If you tell me to go east, I will never go west. Li Changqing had all sorts of plans, but none of them were useful there. He finally realized that in the wake of absolute power, schemes were useless. His only hope was that Yimo would let him work for him. Yimo sneered. Without explaining, a wind blade sliced Li Changqing's head off. Hot blood spewed out, and it soon turned into ice. So he was Yimo. Feng Yanqi laughed to herself. No wonder she couldn't see his power. Chapter 826 Change of the Big Egg. Chapter 826 Change of the Big Egg. Yimo's decisive kill made the icy room even colder. Ji Lai took a few pills and recovered a little. He then said coarsely to Yimo, Yi Qianbei, I've never had any conflict with Yi Qianbei. If you need these 2 eggs, take them. If I hear Qianbei's name, I will immediately leave as far as possible. If Qianbei has anything for me to do, just order me and I will do it immediately. Do you want me to spare your life? Yimo said coldly. Yes, yes, please have mercy, Qianbei. Ji Lai was about to reach great heaven. Of course he didn't want to die. However, he saw Yimo take out a bottle and let out a small bug. He stopped talking at once. He knew all too well what Yimo had poured out. It was a pill goo, and one that he had released. Do you know this? Yimo placed it on the ground and asked coldly. Ji Lai saw Yimo's cold eyes and knew that he might die due to it. Before Ji Lai could reply, Yimo said coldly, 13 years ago, you killed everyone at a mosque and you injured a woman with a child. Then you planted this pill goo on that child. That woman is my wife, and the child is my daughter. Ji Lai, you tell me if I should let you go. Huh! Ji Lai's heart turned cold. If he had known that was the case, he would have rather gone somewhere else than take Essence blood at a mosque. Ji Lai thought about the situation. He was going to die, so he might as well try before he died. But before he could use his qi, a ball of fire had surrounded him, and when he saw clearly that the fire came from Yimo's hands, and the burning sensation sank him into desperation. Ha ha! Wengu laughed as though she didn't feel she was going to die at all. She pointed at Ji Lai and screeched, Fire with no root! There really is fire with no root! This is karma! Karma! Ha ha! Ji Lai was shook. He was indeed surrounded by fire with no root. The fire Yimo had sent out had no fuel and appeared straight in the air. It was fire with no root. Oath, oath. Ji Lai wanted to laugh. Seeing the two burn in the fire, Feng Yanqi murmured, "Karma. Is there really karma? Then why did the heavens abandon me? Why? When I was raped and treated like a dog, where was karma? I don't believe it. I don't believe karma. This world is a cannibalistic world. If I don't devour others, others will devour me. Brother, I'm going to join you." Feng Yanqi's voice quieted and stopped. Yemo could tell she had died. She seemed to have had a tragic past that made her what she was today. Yemo sighed. He sent a few more fireballs, turning all the bodies into ashes before looking at the broken barrier. Golden magical goo egg? Yemo looked at the ball-sized eggs and was doubtful. Goo eggs were usually grain-sized. Yemo used a few wind blades and the barrier disappeared completely. The stone room grew even colder. Yemo was sure that the frigidness came from the goo eggs. How could 2 goo eggs make the room that cold? Yemo really wanted to know what they were. Yemo walked up to the table and picked one up. That bone-piercing cold invaded Yemo's body. It was so cold that Yemo almost dropped the egg. He quickly ran his cultivation essence to relieve the piercing coldness. An ordinary person would have been turned into a block of ice. Yemo couldn't tell what this thing was, but he knew that the person who had set this formation was definitely a mighty being. Yemo studied the egg for a long time, but he couldn't discern what it was. He carefully pierced his spirit sense into the egg, but it was immediately blocked. Yemo scanned the other egg too and had the same outcome. "Just what is this?" Yemo murmured to himself, and then shook his head. He decided to put the 2 eggs into his ring and research it later. However, what shook Yemo was that he couldn't put them in. He couldn't even put them into the golden page world. Yemo grabbed the 2 eggs. He wanted to force them inside, but when he put cultivation essence on his hand, it was sucked in by the egg without resistance. Later, even though he wasn't running his cultivation essence through it, the egg kept sucking his cultivation essence. Not good. Yemo immediately sent out his flying sword. He wanted to slice it off his hands. It didn't matter if he broke the egg, his life was more valuable. However, Yemo realized that his spirit sense couldn't control the flying sword. He couldn't mobilize his spirit sense either. No matter what he did, he couldn't move, and his cultivation essence and spirit sense were being drained into the egg incessantly. Half a day later, Yemo felt like he was getting frozen and still couldn't move. Yemo cursed, but there was nothing he could do. Suddenly, he noticed an explosive feeling coming from the table. Yemo knew that it was a self-destruction formation. If the formation was broken before its time had gone up, the formation would detonate the energy stored beforehand. However, Yemo couldn't leave. He could only hope that the formation's energy was depleted so much that even the self-destruction wouldn't affect him much. Then, he heard a rumble and a huge explosion. Everything around the stone room started to collapse. Yemo breathed at ease. The stone room didn't collapse and he could still live. 10 kilometers from the Albu mountain, a woman in her 20s carried a huge herb basket on her back and collected herbs there. A huge explosion made her stop and look into the distance. Chapter 827, You're My Only Friend. Chapter 827, You're My Only Friend. Even if Yemo could see her at that moment, he might not realize that the girl was Nie Shuangshuang. She no longer had the seductive and feeble look she had in Beijing. Instead, she had her hair tied in a braid and looked like a village girl. She no longer had that bleak and killing temperament. Instead, she had a spiritual-like temperament similar to truth cultivators. A few years ago, she had gone to Nanjiang, but she hadn't been able to find Yemo. However, she found a spirit well and she settled near there. If Yemo had been there, he would have seen that Nie Shuangshuang was at Qi Gathering Peak. The past few years of using the spirit well to cultivate had made her face stay the same, or perhaps look even younger. In a short period of 5 years, she had gone from stage 4 to peak, showing how powerful her talent was. Perhaps she would have gotten to Foundation Establishment State Peak if she had had someone to teach her the Foundation Establishment State cultivation method. Nie Shuang saw the explosion and immediately made her way over there. She had been living in the mountains for many years and knew it was the Wanchu mountain. Even the Miaojiang people rarely went in so deep into the mountain. Why were there explosions? She arrived at where Yemo was in a very short time and saw the collapsed cave. Nie Shuang scanned her spirit sense in. Although her spirit sense wasn't as powerful as Yemo's, it was still nearly 5 kilometers long. She didn't see anything until she reached her spirit sense underground and saw an unconscious Yemo. Her face changed drastically. Although she hadn't seen him for more than 10 years, she recognized Yemo immediately. Although Nie Shuang knew that Yemo didn't really like her and looked down on her, she had never forgotten Yemo. Moreover, for Yemo, she had left Nine Moon Sect at all costs. At the start, she was attracted to Yemo's fresh and clean chi. Then, Yemo saved her life twice and she could never forget him again. She knew that he had saved her at the Yen River. Other than Yemo, she had no friends at all. Despite Yemo just having fed her a pill and leaving her by herself, she wasn't unhappy at all. She was very grateful that Yemo had used a precious pill to save her. When the Nine Moon Sect was laid to waste, she didn't see who saved her either, but she knew it had been Yemo. Niepai wouldn't have been good enough to leave her the Nine Moon Evergreen chant and her life. Other than Yemo, who would do that? When she got the chant, she immediately found a place to cultivate. It was very hard to start. However, due to her talent, she felt chi on the first day and went into chi gathering middle stage after a few years, without anyone teaching her anything on this spirit chi deprived earth. After she found out Yemo was missing, she went around looking for him. She had been to Luoyu countless times. Then, she went to Nanjiang, found a spirit well there and cultivated to chi gathering peak. When she saw Yemo, without hesitation she put down her herb basket and started digging through the collapsed rocks with a curved sword. It was very easy for her and soon, she got to where Yemo was. Immediately she felt a bone-piercing coldness and couldn't help to shiver. Yemo was covered in ice, even his hair was white. His lips were purple. Nie Shuang immediately could tell that Yemo was about to die. The threat seemed to be the 2 huge eggs in the center of his hand. She held Yemo's wrist and started sending cultivation essence into Yemo's body. Yemo immediately felt his hand get warmer, but he realized things weren't good. "Get out quickly!" Yemo yelled at Nie Shuang. Nie Shuang was dazed. She thought Yemo was cultivating something and instead she had disturbed him. But the next moment, Nie Shuang's face changed. She found out that not only had she not pushed the egg away, but she was also stuck in peril. Her cultivation essence also flowed into the egg. Yemo looked at Nie Shuang and sighed. "It's over. Brother Yi, what is this thing? Why is it sucking my inner chi?" Nie Shuang asked in shock. "Sorry, Nie Shuang, I got you into this." Yemo realized that if even he couldn't get away from this, much less Nie Shuang. He could tell that Nie Shuang was at chi gathering peak, but her cultivation essence was far from as powerful as his. To be honest, it couldn't even be called cultivation essence. It was at most cultivation chi. She would have to reach foundation establishment state before she could turn it into cultivation essence. After all, not every cultivation method was the 3-birth chant. "Brother Yi, why are you here?" Nie Shuang calmed down. She knew she was in the same peril as Yemo. Yemo spat out the ice near his mouth and said, "I went to bar in Beijing to find you and the people said you weren't there, so I came to Nanjiang. I happened to have some business to do here and I was planning to look for you afterwards. But now you found me instead and you're also at Chi Gathering Peak. Side dash, Brother Yi, you really went looking for me?" Nie Shuang had sparkles in her eyes after hearing this. It was as though it was the happiest thing for her that Yemo had gone looking for her. But Nie Shuang, how did you reach Chi Gathering Peak?" Nie Shuang's lips were turning purple in such a short time, but she didn't seem to realize the danger she was in. She said happily, "Brother Yi, just call me Shuang. I went to look for you to Nanjiang and I found a well that can allow me to cultivate very fast. So I've been cultivating there." "A spirit well?" Yemo said in shock. There really was spirit well on that planet? But when he remembered their predicament, Yemo got dejected. There was nothing he could do. Seeing this, Nye Shuangxuang quickly said, Brother Yi, don't feel guilty. You've saved me a few times, yet this time I wasn't able to save you. I'm very happy that I can even help you a little bit. If Nye Shuangxuang hadn't been there, he wouldn't have even been able to talk. But then he immediately realized that he had never told her he had saved her twice. How did she know? How do you know I saved you? Yemo asked at once. Nye Shuangxuang smiled. Because I've been very lonely in the past and I had no friends. You were my only friend. Other than you, no one would save me. Nye Shuangxuang said, shivering. Friend? Yemo felt bad. In Nye Shuangxuang's heart, he was her only friend, yet he had never thought of her as a friend. Chapter 828 The Incident at Xianjiang Mountain. Chapter 828 The Incident at Xianjiang Mountain. Before, Nye Shuangxuang was at most someone he knew. But after finding out that she had opened a bar at Beijing just for him, his impression of her changed. Brother Yi, I'm very happy that you saved me. After that, I realized you didn't like me killing people, so I haven't killed anyone since. Nye Shuangxuang felt the frost chi invading her dantian. She knew that if things continued like that, she wouldn't last for long. Yet she realized she didn't regret being able to die by Yemo's side. Sorry. Yemo apologized again. Nye Shuangxuang smiled sweetly. That innocent smile made her look very holy. She looked at Yemo and said shakily, Brother Yi, I already told you. It was my own decision. You don't need to apologize. Yemo looked at her and said in guilt. The reason I'm saying sorry is because although I saved you twice, I did it casually. I didn't intentionally go save you. I didn't think of you as a friend at the time. Although he knew that Nye Shuangxuang would be very disappointed, he still chose to tell the truth. He would let her understand that from now on, she was his friend. Unexpectedly, Nye Shuangxuang said calmly, Brother Yi, I can know that at that time you already thought of me as a friend. I will never feel lonely with you. Nye Shuangxuang's voice was getting lower and lower until it eventually disappeared. Her eyelids closed, and even at the last moment, she still firmly believed that the reason Yemo had saved her twice was because he thought of her as a friend. It felt like he could still hear her voice by his ear, but Yemo knew that her chi had disappeared. Seeing Nye Shuangxuang lean on him and not move, Yemo was shaking. He had not been ready for that woman to die for him. He could no longer control the tidal wave in his heart. Arg! Yemo howled and burned his essence blood. He knew that when he finished burning it, he would be close to death. However, even if he was to die, he would build a beautiful place for her. He would let her know that she was his friend. He wasn't going to let her be lonely anymore. The egg spun rapidly after Yemo started burning his essence blood. Just when Yemo spat more blood, he felt the golden dot above his dantian starting to spin. The golden page world was spinning? The two eggs were getting colder and colder, but the cold stream started to flow into Yemo's golden page world. Yemo couldn't control both items. Rumble Yemo felt his brain shake, and when he opened his eyes again, he saw he had appeared in the golden page world. That egg was still that cold. Nye Shuangxuang was still by his side. She had gone to the golden page world too, but her hands had left the huge egg behind. It was the second time he was there, but he wasn't Foundation Establishment state yet. Yemo realized that it might be due to him being about to die. The golden page seemed to save his life every time he was about to die. Yemo detested the egg that had caused Nye Shuangxuang to be like that. I will spirit control you. When the frosty flow flowed into the golden page world through him, Yemo took a small strand and started to seep his spirit chi into it to control it. Luoying, Ningqing Xue and the other had been in the small world for more than a month. They had completely understood what Yemo had done there. Compared to his blood-boiling battles, they cared more about what sort of woman Mu Xiaoyun was. They had looked for more than a month and used the Magical Merchant Association to put out countless notices, but they hadn't gotten any news from Emo. From Yunzi, they had found out that Emo had asked for large amounts of formation texts and then disappeared for a few years. When Yunzi knew that these women were Yemo's family, she tried even more to get on their good side. She had finally understood why Yemo wasn't interested in her. Any of Yemo's wives was far better than her. The only comfort she had was she seemed to be a little prettier than Luo Fei. Sister Luoying and Qinxue, do you think that we might have come in when brother went out? Tang Boi asked. Yunzi shook her head and said, Probably not. Brother Yi had already disappeared for a few years. If he had gone out, he would have gone to find you first. Yet he didn't, which means that he didn't go out. Just when they were agreeing with Yunzi, the manager arrived and gave a small wax pill to Yunzi. Yunzi opened it and immediately got up. What's going on? Tang Boi asked. Someone found an ancient ruin on the Xianjia mountain. After going in, they saw a teleportation formation. The formation had started running, Yunzi said quickly. Luoying looked at Yunzi in shock. Do you know about teleportation formations? Yunzi nodded. Yes, our family had one to the outside world, but it exploded. My father left through there and still hasn't come back. Ning Qingxue heard this and immediately looked joyful. She quickly said, Z, that teleportation formation goes to the outside? Yunzi nodded. Yes. Tang Beiwei immediately said desperately. Then let's quickly go see. Perhaps brother left through that formation. Seeing the four women leave hurriedly, Yunzi quickly called. Wait for me. When Yunzi got taken on the flying sword, she realized that they all could fly. Although she was very excited and wanted to learn it, she knew she couldn't ask directly. An hour later, they arrived at Xianjia Mountain and found there were already a lot of people. Ji Mei, you're here! Why isn't brother Yi here too? A blue-shirt man came to the teleportation formation and asked a beautiful woman. Ji Mei raised an eyebrow. She realized that it was Fu Wu, the person who had saved her with Emo. She saluted. It's Brother Fu. Brother Yi had a lot of things to do, so he left alone. So that's the case. The blue-shirt man frowned. He was suspicious. Jimei was Yemo's maid. How could she be at Xianjia Mountain? Brother, may I ask the full name of the brother Yi you just spoke about? Tang Beiwei had sharp ears and immediately asked. Seeing that these were all very beautiful women, Fu Wu saluted. A friend I met, his name is Emo. What? Where is Emo? The women surrounded him. Fu Wu looked at Jimei. She had been the last one to see Emo, not him. Jimei could only say, After brother you took me to Xianjia Mountain, he disappeared. So I've been cultivating here since. You're saying Emo has been here before? Luoying immediately asked. Jimei looked at Luoying. She felt like that woman, who was prettier than her, would definitely not be weaker than her. Chapter 829, Teleport Activated. Chapter 829, Teleport activated. The moment that the Xianjia Mountain teleportation formation got activated, the Duanheng Range's 7-star formation emitted faint rays of light. The rays seemed to be weak, and only one star was shining properly. But soon, all the 7 peaks started to emit a faint light, and not long after it formed a big spoon. As the light got sucked in by the huge rock, the light on the Tiankou position became brighter and brighter, and eventually formed a big round image. If Emo has been there, he would have known that the 7-star formation had repaired itself, and that had been fully activated. The fact that it had been activated was quickly spread among the hidden sex people. Jiuming Academy and the Chinese government joined together to control this place. Although the outer hidden sex people didn't know what it was, since a few scientists had disappeared in its inside, they realized that it could be a formation to the inner hidden sections. Zheng Jingxia and Saiji, who knew about the small world thanks to Emo, immediately went into the small world. With this, more and more people started going in. After seeing Emo's power, the hidden sex people has realized that their power could only dominate the mortal world. If they wanted to reach higher states, they would have to go other places. The Chinese government controlled the site, but no one knew if it was a teleportation formation for sure because all the people who had gone in had disappeared. No one reported back. But even with the government's control, people kept going in as they were hidden sex people. Not even the Heaven Squad supported the government. These news soon spread all over the hidden sex, and Luo Yu got news of it too. Sister Ling, my dad hasn't been back for 2 months. Do you think he went to the small world too? I think my dad went to look for the other 2 aunties. Yimo was already at stage 2 now. Song Yangzhu quickly said. Yimo dash. Yimo poked her tongue out. Looking at the happy Song Yangzhu and Yimo, Su Jingwen was a little sad. She had realized that the only person in the world she would ever be interested in was Yimo. She would rather live alone forever than find someone to cope with. For the first time, Su Jingwen wanted to not see Yimo again. Yiling stared uneasily at Su Jingwen and Qi Wanqing and sighed. She took out 2 jade bottles and gave these to them. Sister Jingwen Wanqing, when my brother left, he told me to leave these pills for you. He said he was looking for you too. However, you came here on your own, which means that he wasn't able to find you. The face-preserving pill? Su Jingwen got up excitedly. Yiling, did your brother really leave this behind? Did he actually say he was looking for us? It was something truly special since Yimo had left it for them. Yiling nodded firmly. Her brother had left these for her, but she didn't need them. Hence, she might as well give them to those 2. After Qi Wanqing heard these words, her face was immediately filled with joy. She hadn't thought Yimo would still remember her. She didn't know if Yimo still kept what she had given him, but her fatigue was swept away. Song Yangzhu also sighed. Compared to these 2, she was extremely lucky. She knew that if that accident hadn't happened, and she hadn't had Yimo, she would never be with him. Song Yangzhu suddenly felt grateful for that accident. If it hadn't been for that, she would have never met someone like Yimo and never known about cultivation, nor know the feeling of being protected by a husband. Song Yangzhu finally understood why Luo Ying and Ning Qingxue had gone into the small world to find Yimo, because they couldn't bear to be without him. Yimo was unique. Su Jingwen and Qi Wanqing each had had a unique experience with Yimo, and understood that he was irreplaceable. No other guy in the world would touch their hearts like Yimo had. No matter if he was willing or not, she would ask Yimo personally. While they were still chatting, Su Yuhua rushed to the Luo Yu mansion. She had just reached Great Heaven and heard about the formation to the small world, so she immediately went there. Sister Yuhua? Song Yangzhu got up quickly. Su Yuhua said desperately. A teleportation formation to the small world appeared in the Duanheng ranges. Are you guys going? Su Yuhua had given her job away and focused on cultivation. Hence, she was immediately interested as soon as she heard about the small world. I still want to wait for Yimo to come back and ask him. Song Yangzhu hesitated and said. Although she suspected that Yimo had gone in too, she still wanted to wait. What if he hadn't? Yiling said. Sister-in-law Yangzhu, I suspect that my brother went inside. He has been out for 2 months, but he isn't back yet. He should have been very fast. Perhaps my brother opened the portal? But I think we should still wait for a while. He always leaves for long periods of time. Su Yuhua calmed down after the initial excitement. She realized that Song Yangzhu and Yiling didn't want to leave Luo Yu for now, but she didn't have anything there. Pursuing the highest state of cultivation was her only goal. Thinking about this, Su Yuhua said firmly, Even if you're all not going, I'm still going. I don't have anything to do now anyways. I'll go around and have a look in the small world. If things don't work out, I'll come back. Sister Yuhua, I'll go with you. Unexpectedly, Su Jingwen got up. Me too. Qi Wanqing also said firmly. She had decided to follow Yimo's footsteps. Chapter 830. Frost turns into bed. Chapter 830. Frost turns into bed. Su Jingwen was no longer the same person after starting truth cultivation. She understood a lot about Yemo, how he could save people using runic paper, and why he was able to make magic artifacts. Since he could do it, so could she. She wanted to be able to stand at Yemo's height one day and tell him what she had always wanted to say. Although she began liking him due to his power, it was nothing related to that now. When Yemo took the first stream of frost, he immediately felt his organs getting frozen too. It was as though if he breathed once, his lungs would shatter. He had to try to spirit control the frost streams before his essence blood got used up. While enduring the coldness, Yemo rejoiced that he had only taken one stream, since he would have frozen to death immediately if he had taken too many. Under the control of his spirit sense and cultivation essence, the frost stream was being gradually marked by him. Yemo found in joy that his cultivation essence was starting to grow slowly after he spirit controlled the frost streams. Every bit he spirit controlled, his organs would feel a little warmer, and his essence blood would return a little. Did this mean that if he kept spirit controlling the frost stream, the essence blood he had burnt would return? Thinking about this, Yemo resisted the pain and started trying his best to spirit control the frost stream. An hour later, Yemo found that he had completely spirit controlled the frost stream. It turned into a small white spot, like 1/10 the size of a sesame seed. He felt as though he could control the small white spot at his will. Yemo rejoiced. If he turned the spot to the size of a fist, how powerful would it be as a weapon? Yemo continued to spirit control more streams of frost. As he spirit controlled more, the white dot grew bigger and bigger, turning from white to gray and then a dark gray. Yemo also noticed that as his essence blood rejuvenated, a sliver of origin power was injected into his essence blood. After some time, Yemo woke up and found that all the ice on him had disappeared. He was no longer cold. He seemed to have controlled the frost flow between the golden page world and the ice egg. Yemo looked at the lychee-sized dark gray ball in his golden page world and reached out to it. The ball immediately came to his hand and emitted a bone-chilling frigidness. But he could still control it completely. Yemo wanted to test the ball's power, but he saw Nye, who laid peacefully on the side, and no longer had the mood to do so. The frost on her had also disappeared, but she was no longer breathing. Although he knew he couldn't save her, Yemo still placed a lotus life pill in her mouth. It melted immediately, yet after a long while, Nye still wasn't moving. Yemo sighed. He took out many jade stones and made a jade bed for her. Yemo laid Nye on it, and kept the bed in the golden page world. Despite not sensing her soul in his spirit sense, Yemo still put his only Inshabi next to her, hoping that he would be able to one day find enough top-grade spirit stones to make a house for her in the golden page world. The two big eggs were still in a corner of the golden page world. Yemo didn't have time to completely spirit sense the frost chi inside. He had to go back to Luoyu as soon as possible. He made a jade box and placed the two eggs inside before leaving the golden page world. He knew that the next time he was back, he would be at Foundation Establishment State. Yemo arrived at the stone room again after leaving the golden page world. His cultivation essence was abundant, so he returned to the entrance of the cave. There was an old herb basket laying next to the entrance. All the herbs had dried up after all this time. Yemo picked it up and found a pink bag. Inside there were some of her clothes, a jade and the 9-moon evergreen chant. The two things that he had left for her had come back to him again. Yemo put the herb basket away and dashed towards Luoyu on his flying sword with a sunken mood. Song Yangzhu hadn't been able to calm down to cultivate the past few days. A week ago, Su Jingwen, Qi Wanqing, Su Yuehua and Yemo had all gone into the small world. What made her worry was that the formation's radiance was getting weaker and weaker, which meant that in some time, it would be impossible to go there anymore. Yangzhu. Yemo found Song Yangzhu immediately when he got back to Luoyu Lake and landed next to her. However, he only saw Yiling cultivating and not Yemo. Song Yangzhu was dazed. She heard his voice and she immediately realized that Yemo had come back. She ran up to him at once and embraced him. "What's wrong? Where's Yemo?" Yemo asked. Song Yangzhu soon told him what had happened. What Yemo didn't get was how could the small world open up itself. What do we do? Song Yangzhu asked. Brother! Yiling also ran over when she heard the voices. Yemo was worried about Yemo. Luoying and the others were at Qi gathering tertiary stage, and he wasn't too worried. However, Yemo had only cultivated for 3 months, and she was so innocent. Luckily, Su Yuhua was a heaven-level master. Don't worry. Yemo patted her shoulders and said, I'll make some pills tonight and we'll go to the small world tomorrow. Brother, can I go with you guys? Yiling asked worriedly. Everyone had left. If her brother left too, she would be by herself in Luoying. Yemo hesitated for a moment before nodding. Okay, you can come with me. I'll help you make the 5 essence pill tonight and try to get you a spirit root so you can cultivate too. Yemo was planning on letting the 2 women stay there and cultivate, but after seeing their faces, he knew that wasn't plausible. Song Yangzhu breathed at ease. She had feared that Yemo would leave her behind and go off on his own. Chapter 831 Return to Magical Continent Mountain. Chapter 831 Return to Magical Continent Mountain. Yemo had been planning to make the 5 essence pill after Foundation Establishment State, but he knew that Yiling was already very desperate. Luckily, he had a lot of 10,000-year-old stalagmite marrow. However, Yemo thought of things too simply. With his power, he was able to barely make the 5 essence pill, yet the spirit chi on Earth was too deficient. He tried 5 times and they all failed when he was trying to condense the ingredients into a pill. Yemo had wasted 1/10 of his herbs trying to make these 5 cauldrons, and this pained his heart. For the 6th try, he used 9 spirit stones to make a spirit gathering formation. Only then was he able to make one 5 essence pill, and the quality wasn't very high either. The 5 essence pill was unlike other pills. One could only get 1 pill per try. Those who could make 2 or more were geniuses. The pills were also divided into mortal, spirit, heaven, immortal, holy and god grades. Each grade had 9 levels. The 5 essence pill wasn't hard to make, but it was a heaven grade pill. It was all due to how rare the stalagmite marrow was. The 5 essence pill was a peak level heaven grade pill. If it wasn't for the fact that it was so easy to make with the right ingredients, it would have been listed as an immortal pill. However, it was also possible to concoct the pill to a lower grade. For example, the pill Yemo had just made was only at heaven grade level 5. Such pills could not be used to test the pill master's skills, as the methodology for concocting the pill was simple. Yemo had wasted 9 spirit stones and 5 cauldrons of ingredients to make only one 5 essence pill. This made him completely give up on the idea to make the Foundation Establishment State pill now. It was only a spirit grade level 1 pill, but its method had the same difficulty as the 5 essence pill. After Yemo made Yiling take the 5 essence pill, he started to make other pills. He had a lot of herbs from the small world, but he just didn't have time to make them. After half a night's rest, Yemo made Song Yangzhu and Yiling a flying sword and a storage ring each. After Yiling took the 5 essence pill, she got on the test that she had 3-element spirit root. Yemo wasn't too satisfied with this, but he knew it was due to the quality of his pill. He still taught Yiling cultivation, but he decided to make her a better pill once his pill concocting skills improved. He was very worried about his daughter and the others. Hence, the next day as soon as it was dawn, he told Huan Yinian and Su Ping, before taking Song Yangzhu and Yiling, to leave Luoyu. He had been planning to go to Japan to find the Xiang Ninjutsu Dojo leader originally, but he set that aside for his daughter. When Yemo and the others arrived at the hidden valley where the 7-star formation was, he found that the place was much tighter now. The formation's radiance was indeed weak. Yemo could tell that it could last at least half a month. Which meant that once it disappeared, the formation would close completely again. There were not only hidden sex masters watching it, but the army as well large amounts of journalists and prospectors. However, not everyone could just enter the formation freely. People had to sign something to go in, and not everyone could go in. As for Yemo, the government wanted to block news of him. Yet news of him going in the formation were soon released. Yemo's fame was so big in China and all over the world that it was beyond his imagination. Due to Yemo going in, a lot of people also followed. Ever since the formation at the magical continent mountain was opened, the bloodbath had never stopped. The small world's masters completely surrounded the place, and everyone who came in from the outside world had to leave all of their belongings before going. If they didn't want to or had nothing valuable, they would be killed. At that moment, there were still a few people tied up near the formation. A man with a scar on his face was about to kill one of the tied-up people, but he was stopped by another man. "Wait, the formation brightened up again. Let's see if it's a wealthy goat this time. If not, kill them all together," another called out. "Brother, is this the small world? Does it look no different from the outside world?" Yiling asked. Before Yemo could reply, he scanned his spirit sense out and saw the bloody scene. He immediately frowned. When he had stayed there, the place had been empty. So why were there so many people there now? "What are you looking at, kid? Take off all your clothes and leave your things behind." Brother Bao, there are two beautiful chicks." A short fat man was yelling at Yemo, but then he saw Song Yangzhu and Yiling. Yemo looked at the people tied up on the side. He actually knew one of them. It was Su Shi from the Heaven Squad. Yemo looked at these people and understood why the Earth-level tertiary stage Su Shi could be tied up too. There were two half-step great heaven martial artists there. Even the weakest was at black-level tertiary stage. "Are you King deaf? I told you to take off your cloth dash," the short fat man yelled again. But he stopped halfway as Yemo's wind blade had sliced off his head. A blood pillar was shot into the sky, which scared Yiling and Song Yangzhu. The remaining people saw that Yemo had killed an Earth-level primary stage master immediately. Without saying anything, they all pulled out their weapons. But what got them confused was that their big boss had been staring at Yemo for a long time and went back to reality after Yemo killed the fat man. However, he knelt down immediately. Just when people didn't know what was going on, the other half-step great heaven master also knelt down. He was shivering. Seeing their two big bosses kneel alone, everyone stopped their steps and the scene became eerily silent. Chapter 832, Cultivation World. Chapter 832, Cultivation World. The Earth-level martial artists hesitated for a moment before decisively putting down their weapons and also kneeling down. "Yi Qianbei," Bao brother said shakily. Yemo wasn't happy at all. These men were clearly waiting there to rob people. Didn't that mean Yemo, Jingwen and the others has also been stopped? Yi Qianbei? All of those who hadn't recognized Yemo yet now knew who that man was. It was Yi Qianbei, who had slaughtered countless great heaven and half-step great heaven masters and annihilated Tai sect. Yet still, they had tried to rob Yi Qianbei. Two black-level martial artists subconsciously started running, but they were sliced in half after running less than 3 meters. Su Shi and the hidden sex warriors saw that Yemo hadn't even spoken, but he had made those fearsome robbers kneel down shakily. They were shocked beyond belief. Yemo didn't know them, but they clearly knew him. A person who dominated the outside world had gone into the powerful small world and was still invincible. "Instructor Yi," Su Shi said with bitterness, looking at Song Yangzhu standing next to Yemo. Yemo glanced at Su Shi. He cut loose his ropes with the wind blade. Then, Su Shi untied the others. All of those who had been saved went up to thank Yemo. Yemo waved his hand and looked at Bao brother. "You're robbing people here and killing them?" No, Yi Qianbei. "I'm just collecting some advanced things to sell," Bao brother said shakily. Yemo said coldly, "I have no patience. Did 4 women come here a few days ago? Was one of them a girl in her teens? What happened to them?" Yes, they were all very pretty dash," Bao brother said, but he was interrupted. "Get to the point." Yes. Wan was here at the time, and he wanted them. he attacked them. Bao brother peeked at Emo, whose face had turned very bleak, and stuttered. Then, one of the women brought a little possum that was very strong which killed Wang Wan and 7 others. Speak faster. Emo could breathe a little more at ease. Yes, yes. Then, Wang Wan's brother came. He was at half-step Great Heaven, but one of them was also a Great Heaven Master. They killed Wang Wan's brother and went to Xianjia Mountain. Bao brother said. Why go to Xianjia Mountain? Emo said. Half a month ago, a teleportation formation appeared there and many people went. Bao brother said. Emo's heart sunk. A formation had appeared there too, and also for half a month too. Emo was sure that it wasn't to Earth. If it was, he would have long known. Qianbei, half a month ago, Zihua Goddess took your 2 wives and also went in that formation. Another half-step Great Heaven man said. What? Emo heard this and had a bad feeling. If that formation wasn't to Earth, then it was to the cultivation realm for sure. Luoying, Qingxue and Beiwei were invincible in the small world, but in the cultivation realm they were at the bottom. They had all taken the face-preserving pill. What if people lusted after them? After he thought about this, Emo waved out wind blades, killing everyone there but Bao brother and the other half-step Great Heaven Master. However, Emo damaged their dantian. Before they could react, Emo's voice sounded. Seeing that you answered honestly, I'll let you live. Spread my word, those who dare to rob near this formation will die. Then, Emo and the 2 women disappeared. Emo got to Xianjia Mountain as soon as possible. Brother, what do we do? Yiling had never been to the cultivation realm, but seeing that even in the small realm it was the law of the jungle, the cultivation realm would be worse. We'll go inside immediately. Song Yaju was also worried. Emo understood their worry, but he could only comfort them. There are also good people in the cultivation realm, not everyone is cruel. Don't worry, we should still be able to find them if we go now. But when Emo went near the teleportation formation, his face changed. What's wrong? Song Yangzhu asked immediately. Emo said. It's troublesome. This formation does not teleport to a specific location, it's a random one-way formation. Even if 2 people cross it at the same time, they might be millions of miles apart. What? Yiling was shook and asked. Brother, that means that if we enter at the same time, we might not appear in the same place? Emo nodded. Yes, but this isn't what I'm worried about the most. I'll hold you 2 when we go, but I'm worried that even if we go through here, we won't be able to find Emo and the others and much less Qingxue and company, who went it even earlier. Emo was very worried. Emo was only 13. Such a little girl in the cultivation realm, that had dangers everywhere, wouldn't be able to survive for long. Song Yangzhu got extremely worried. Emo said to Yiling. Yiling, hold Silver. We'll go inside immediately. Emo grabbed Song Yangzhu and Yiling and entered the teleportation formation. Emo felt some dizziness. He immediately could tell that it was a very long-distance teleportation. After some time, the 3 of them landed outside an endless valley. Emo looked at Song Yangzhu and Yiling, who were still next to him, and breathed at ease. But immediately, he sensed an extremely dense spirit chi. Feeling this, Emo knew at once that it was the cultivation realm. He was quite familiar with that feeling. In Luoyu continent, the spirit chi was as dense. But Emo knew that such density was considered very low in the cultivation realm. Most sects had spirit gathering formations and spirit arteries. TL note, spirit arteries, underground streams of spirit energy. Emo, I feel that this place is quite suitable for truth cultivation, Song Yangzhu said. Emo nodded. Before he could tell her to go find a nearby city, he saw 6 people fighting and running. They were headed towards them. Yiling and Song Yangzhu were dazed. They had never seen such a way of fighting. Fireballs were everywhere in the air and there were runic papers that brought showers of ice. Flying swords also dashed around all over the place. They could tell that it was 2 people against 4. Before they could ask Emo, a gray-clothed man pierced a black-faced man's throat with his flying sword. However, before the man could rejoice, the dark-faced man also blasted a fireball through the man's chest. Yi Ling and Song Yangzhu witnessed this in shock. There were no laws there at all. Killing was a daily thing. The other member of the smaller party couldn't focus anymore and was soon killed by the remaining three. The remaining two guys and the woman picked up the storage bags before walking up to Yemo. Seeing these three ferocious people walk over, Yi Ling and Song Yangzhu immediately became anxious and stood behind Yemo. Even Silver felt their bad will and raised her feathers. One at Chi gathering stage and one two non-cultivators. These two chicks aren't bad. The tall cultivator who walked at the front studied Yemo and laughed. He cultivated the three-birth chant, hence that man couldn't see Yemo's power at all. A storage ring? A monkey-mouthed man behind the tall cultivator saw Song Yangzhu and Yi Ling's storage and exclaimed. He immediately tried to grab Song Yangzhu. Chapter 833. Truth realization is harder than going above the heavens. Chapter 833. Truth realization is harder than going above the heavens. Yemo had storage rings because he had the space abyssal rock. There were many more space abyssal rocks in the cultivation realm than on Earth, but how many people were there in the cultivation realm? Seeing the storage rings, the monkey-mouthed man immediately wanted to rob it. Moreover, the other woman also tried to grab Yemo. These valuable items were usually only in the hands of high-level cultivators. Yi Ling and Song Yangzhu weren't even able to react due to how fast they had attacked. However, Yemo attacked before they could react. Yemo knew that there was no place for reason in that land, so Yemo immediately threw out two wind blades. These weren't like the wind blades he used in the small world. In the cultivation realm, cultivators all had spirit sense and cultivation chi to protect themselves. If he didn't strengthen his wind blades, it wouldn't cause much damage at all. The monkey-mouthed man and woman were both at stage 6 chi gathering. Two blood streams flew in the air. The two thieves were hacked away and crushed onto the ground. Foundation establishment state! The woman called out and died. The monkey-mouthed man wasn't even able to speak, as he died with shock and regret. Foundation establishment state Qianbei. The tall man murmured he didn't know what to do. Yemo knew he was no foundation establishment state cultivator, but his three-birth chant allowed him to transform his cultivation chi into cultivation essence at chi gathering state. Cultivation essence was the signature trait of foundation establishment state. Qianbei, please have mercy, the tall cultivator begged. He was just at stage 7. It wasn't that he couldn't attack before, but he was a better person than the other two. What is this place? Yemo left him to ask where he was. He didn't want to go around like a senseless fly and bump into a strong and cruel cultivator. The tall man immediately said shakily, This is near Miao Mountain. We came from Pingxiao City. We were planning on going to Jingyuan Sword Sect's disciple recruitment tournament. We found a Tiandan flower her dash. Yemo sighed. He had gathered quite a lot of Tiandan flower at the Wuwen Mountain. Yet he hadn't expected those people would fight over a Tiandan flower in the spirit chi abundant cultivation realm. But Yemo realized that there were too many people cultivating there, and everyone was looking for spirit herbs. People would even fight over lower grade spirit herbs. Yemo yelled, Speak clearly! Where is Miao Mountain? Where is the Jingyuan Sword Sect? Why are they recruiting disciples? The tall cultivator was dazed. How could that foundation establishment state Qianbei not know about the Jingyuan Sword Sect or Miao Mountain? But he didn't dare to ask that. He could only reply, Miao Mountain is the mountain range on the outskirts of the Jingyuan Sword Sect. Many lone cultivators tried to find their fortune here. Jingyuan Sword Sect is one of the 4-star sects in the North Far State. They are taking in disciples from a radius of hundreds of thousands of kilometers around them. Yemo heard North Far State and his head buzzed. It's real. When he had still been at the Magical Herb Sect, he had seen on a journal that Luoyu continent was divided into the East Black State, the West Extreme State, the North Far State, and the South Peace State. The journal said that each of the 4 states were boundless. It was unknown how many billions of kilometers they had. The Heartless Seas area separating the 4 states was much bigger than billions of kilometers. A person wouldn't be able to touch the border of the East Black State in a lifetime. The journal also described that comparing the other states, North Far State was desolated. There were rarely any hollow spirit cultivators. The East Black State was the second worst. Rarely anyone could reach cauldron-filling state. The South Peace State was the paradise of Luo Yu, the legendary place of ascension. Yet, the author had never been able to see it with his own eyes. And to the West Extreme State not even gods and demons dared to go close, much less cultivators. This meant that each state was boundless, and between these boundless states there was the Heartless Sea, that was even larger than the 4 states. This meant that the North Far State had the worst spirit chi and was the least suitable for cultivation. The East Black State was a little bit better, but rarely anyone could reach cauldron-filling state. The best place to cultivate was the South Peace State. It was said that people could ascend into the immortal realm there, but the person who had left the journal had never been in his lifetime. Meanwhile, the West Extreme State was said to be a very dangerous place, and it wasn't somewhere ordinary cultivators could go. It seemed like he was in the North Far State at that moment. Yemo was very disappointed. That tall man noticed that Yemo was in a daze and immediately tried to run away. However, he only ran a few meters before getting killed by Yemo's flying sword. "Brother, what do we do?" Yiling asked worriedly. Song Yangzhu frowned even more, as she worried about Yemo. No one followed reason in that place. How could she feel safe about Yemo? Yemo sighed and took their storage bags before saying, "Hang your storage ring on your chest. In the cultivation realm, no one dares to scan other people's clothes with spirit sense. Let's find a market and I'll buy a few spirit sense shielding clothes." In the cultivation realm, those who dared to scan other people's clothes with spirit sense were public enemies. Furthermore, everyone had spirit sense shielding clothes. "Brother, I heard those people call you a Foundation Establishment State Qianbei. Is Foundation Establishment State the highest power level here?" Yiling asked. Yemo shook his head. "In the cultivation realm, cultivation is divided into 9 levels: Qi Gathering, Foundation Establishment, Golden Core, Nascent Soul, Hollow Spirit, Body Condensation, Cauldron Filling, Disaster Transformation and Truth Realization. Then, each state has 9 small levels. It is 81 small levels in total to reach Truth Realization State Peak. The strongest master I know of is only Cauldron Filling State Level 7. Huh! Yiling exclaimed. "Brother, if we all reach Truth Realization State Peak, then wouldn't we become immortal?" Yemo smiled bitterly. "You haven't cultivated, so you don't know about the hardships of cultivation. Did you see those people before? They were fighting each other to death for a mere Tian-Dan flower. But that's only something used for Qi gathering state. Even with adequate herbs, some people reach the end of their lives before they could ever break through. Moreover, each state is much harder than the previous one." Yemo's words made Yiling fall silent. After a while, she said firmly, "Brother, since other people can reach Truth Realization State, so can I." Chapter 834, Don't Be in a Rush to Leave. Chapter 834, Don't Be in a Rush to Leave. Let's go have a look at the Jingyuan Sword Sect. Yemo chose the next target. There was no future for solo cultivators in this world. Solo cultivators had no resources and were often in a lot of danger. Although some could reach to a state where people had to look up to, these were a minority. Most of them died while looking for resources. No matter what world it was, dependence and backup was very important. Yemo just told Song Yangzhu and Yiling to put their storage rings away, but he didn't give them a mask. Although they were pretty girls were everywhere in the cultivation realm. They weren't very extraordinary. After all, they weren't at Luoying, Qingxue, Beiwei and Xiaoyan's level. Seeing that Yemo wasn't using his flying sword, Yiling asked strangely, "Brother, wouldn't we go faster if we flew?" Yemo shook his head with a bitter smile. We're just gathering level cultivators. We're not at a market or near a sect. If we fly, we won't keep a low profile. Some bored high-level cultivators might kill you for no reason. Song Yangzhu and Yiling took a cold breath in. They hadn't thought people could be killed for just passing by. Just what kind of place was this? Yemo didn't explain. Although the reality might have not been as dangerous as he said, Song Yangzhu and Yiling had just arrived at the cultivation realm. It was better for them to have a careful attitude. The three of them simply walked out of the Miao Mountain and saw people heading towards one direction on a big road. Yemo scanned with his spirit sense. Most of these people were cultivators and a small portion ancient martial artists. However, there were no foundation establishment state masters. Only a few were at chi-gathering tertiary stages. Yemo and the others soon joined the crowd and he decided to show his power too. People could come to look for trouble if they were too low-key. As soon as Yemo joined the crowd, people noticed them immediately. Yet when they saw his power, many chose to stay a little further away from Yemo to avoid angering this Jianbei. Yemo was trying to find someone to ask about things when a sturdy-looking man brought a girl less than 20 years old over to Yemo. He saluted with his fists and said, "Friend, I'm Xia Zhongwen, and this is my sister Xia Pinger. Are you guys going to the Jingyuan Sword Sect too?" Yemo nodded and studied the two brothers, wondering why he had to come talk to him out of all those people. The man was shorter than him, but he was still more than 175 centimeters tall. He had sturdy muscles and was at stage 9 chi gathering. He was one step away from foundation establishment state, but some people could get stuck at chi gathering peak for the rest of their lives. His sister wasn't much shorter than her brother, but she was also at stage 5 chi gathering. Her looks were average and had some freckles on her face. She looked very shy and stayed behind her brother, not daring to talk. Yemo just studied her casually, and she blushed. Xia Zhongwen replied happily, "Friend, there's still about 3 to 4 days until we get to the sect. There are too many people on this road and there might be some ill-willed people. If you don't mind, we can form a small group." Yemo realized that this man approved of his power. He was at chi-gathering level 8, there weren't many of his caliber here. Most of the people at chi-gathering tertiary stage already had a group. "Okay," Yemo agreed. "I'm Yemo, this is my wife Song Yangzhu and my sister Yiling," Yemo introduced. Xia Pinger had little courage, but she wasn't an introvert. She soon talked happily with Yiling and Song Yangzhu. Although Song Yangzhu and Yiling weren't familiar with the language there, they improved rapidly under Xia Pinger's tutelage and the fact that the language was similar to Chinese. Through his conversation with Xia Zhongwen, he understood the sect's power. It was said that they had a nascent soul state ancestor, 14 golden core state masters, almost 100 foundation establishment state members and countless chi-gathering state martial artists. It was indeed a big sect. Yemo also found out from him that the North Far State Sect Division was just like the Sect Division where he had been in his previous life, the East Black State. The sects were divided into 9 stars categories. Jingyuan Sword Sect was a 4-star sect despite being at the very bottom of the 4-star category. Song Yangzhu and Yiling finally realized that what Yemo had told them was true. They understood what sort of world that place was. On their journey, they saw the strong abuse the weak. The high-level cultivators formed groups and asked for goods to the low-level cultivators. If they didn't give anything, it was either getting injured or death. The low-level cultivators had no choice but to give spirit stones or other treasures in order to get the high-level group's protection. These people are really shameless. Song Yangzhu had seen a young man get killed immediately for not being able to give spirit stones for protection fees. "Sister Yangzhu, brother said we shouldn't comment on these things," Xia Pinger said quickly. "Two pretty girls." "What? You don't like me killing people?" The cultivator who killed the young man walked to them. The 4 people with him all walked up to Yemo and the group. These 5 men were all at stage 8 and above 3 at stage 8 and 2 at stage 9. I saw there was a stage 9 here, so I didn't want to cause trouble, but instead you are the one who wanted to start trouble. Hand over your storage bags and tell that chick who cares so much to come with me. I'll return her later, and this matter will be resolved. The stage 9 martial artist glanced cockily at Song Yangzhu, but he stared at Xiao Zhongwen. The remaining 4 men sealed their exits, as if they were sure Yemo and the others would surrender. They had power indeed. Other than Yemo, who was at stage 8, and Xiao Zhongwen, who was at stage 9, the 3 other girls' power was minuscule. The people around immediately moved away. Xiao Zhongwen's expression changed and saluted with his fist. Martial brothers, she said it unintentionally before. Please don't mind it, there are 10 low-grade spirit stone dash, stop. You want to buy a life for 10 low-grade spirit stones? Do you F***king think I'm a beggar? The stage 9 cultivator said in contempt. Sorry I dash. Song Yangzhu said worriedly to Yemo. She couldn't have imagined something so casual would cause so much trouble. Yemo smiled and waved his hand at her. He stopped Xiao Zhongwen and then walked to the front. I didn't go looking for trouble with you, but you dared to mess with me. Then Yemo's flying sword flew towards the cultivator's neck. A flying sword? The cultivator was shook. He hadn't thought a stage 8 martial artist would dare to attack first and also have a flying sword. Although he was at stage 9, he had no flying sword since he was a solo cultivator. Even some cultivating family members didn't have flying sword. Only those from big sects could afford giving inner sect members their own flying sword. Outer sect members had to do large amounts of missions to get it. His group only had 2 members that had a flying sword and they all came from cultivation families. As soon as he saw the flying sword, he knew he had messes with someone that wasn't simple. Yemo wasn't going to let him dodge that easily. His flying sword chased the stage 9 closely while he shot 2 wind blades. Although he was only at stage 8, he was much stronger than a chi-gathering stage master. There was no pressure in killing a stage 9 man. If he hadn't wanted to keep a low profile, Yemo could instantly have killed this person. The cultivator wasn't able to dodge the flying sword nor the wind blades. Splurge, the stage 9 master, was cut in 3 pieces. Yemo took back his flying sword and grabbed the storage bag in the air, while burning the 3 pieces of the body into nothing. The series of movements had been so fluid that it was clear he did it frequently. The other 4 cultivators were dead silent, and so was the crowd around them. Killing a stage 9 master instantly, what kind of power was that? It was the power of a foundation establishment state Qianbei. The other 4 men immediately wanted to run. Since you're here, don't be in a rush to leave. Yemo checked the storage bag and said lazily. Chapter 835, Miao Mountain Market. Chapter 835, Miao Mountain Market. Let's attack together. I don't believe dash. The remaining stage 9 master immediately realized that they couldn't resolve things peacefully, so he took out his flying sword to fight for his life. However, he stopped in the middle of the sentence. He had just blocked Yemo's flying sword, but got killed by the hidden sword rays. It was a modified sword ability, the 3-birth sword ray. The reason he had used it then was to test its power. Secondly, he had shot it from a very hidden angle. Hence to others the man had been killed by the flying sword. Seeing that the cultivator couldn't resist at all, Yemo rejoiced. This thing was a big killing blow indeed. If his sword rays formed a net, then no matter how fast the opponent was, they would be killed. Another stage 9 got instantly killed. The cultivators around didn't even dare to watch too closely. Yemo took the storage bag and looked at the remaining stage 8 cultivators. Qianbei, this is my storage bag. A smart cultivator gave his storage bag to Yemo as quickly as possible. The remaining 2 men saw this and they both handed over their storage bags without hesitation. Yemo picked these up and then yelled, "Piss off!" Yes, thanks for sparing our lives, Qianbei." The 3 men ran away faster than rabbits and immediately disappeared. The reason he hadn't killed these 3 cultivators was because he knew there were countless people like that in the world, and he wouldn't be able to kill them all. In order to protect himself there, it was pointless to kill. The only way was to increase his own power to make everyone fear his power. Xia Zhongwen, like others in the crowd, stared at Yemo in shock. He had never seen a qi gathering state this strong. Xia Pinger was also dazed and unable to talk. They had been still thinking about how to pay a huge sum for these people to let them go, yet now Yemo had killed them easily and gotten 5 storage bags. Song Yangzhu approached him and hugged Yemo's arm excitedly. She had heard Yemo say there were many people stronger than him in that world, but she was still proud that Yemo could easily kill a strong enemy. Brother, these people don't seem that strong. Why do people endure their robberies? Yiling asked in confusion. Xia Zhongwen got defeated by Yiling's words. They might have not seemed strong to her brother, but for others they were the strongest ones there. Brother Yi, I didn't think you were this strong. I probably wouldn't even be able to last 3 moves if I fought you. Funny how I thought I was a little stronger than you before, Xia Zhongwen said. Yemo patted his shoulders and said, I have fought a lot, so I have some experience. You will be the same too. Xia Zhongwen didn't think so. He had experienced a lot of battles too. Let's not talk about this, Zhongwen. It's dark now, is there a place to rest? Yemo didn't mind, but Yiling and Song Yangzhu were tired. There's one 30 kilometers ahead. There's a market and some hotels too. We can rest there for the night and continue the next morning. However, it's a little pricey to enter the market, Xia Zhongwen said. Yemo handed the 2 storage bags over Xia Zhongwen and said, These are yours. Keep these 2 flying sword too. Yemo really couldn't be bothered taking these low-grade flying swords. Xia Zhongwen quickly waved his hand. I can't take that, it's too precious. Yemo patted him and smiled. We all have flying sword. You don't have any, so take it. We're all friends. Moreover, I don't really like this type of flying sword. Xia Zhongwen could tell Yemo didn't care about those low-grade flying swords, so he took them and thanked Yemo greatly. The Miao Mountain Market was quite a famous market near the Jingyuan sword sect. It was very popular mainly because it was very safe. This market belonged to the Jingyuan sword sect, so rarely anyone dared to cause trouble there. Many lone cultivators, pill concoctors, forgers and rune makers made a living here. Everyone had to pay a 5 low-grade spirit stones entrance fee. Yemo had robbed 11 storage bags and given 2 to Xia Zhongwen, but he still had 9 left. Yemo had gotten 172 spirit stones from these bags. Moreover, he had 3 from before, so he had 175 spirit stones in total. So prosperous! Song Yangzhu exclaimed. Yemo had been to some markets before and he felt it was alright, but it was indeed prosperous. It was almost like a city. There were all sorts of businesses there, but of course, mostly related to cultivation. The 5 of them went into an ordinary hotel where they had to pay 3 spirit stones per night. Yemo bought Song Yangzhu and Yiling the cheapest defensive inner clothes and spent all of his spirit stones. With dense luminous stones and luminous formations, the market was bright like daylight even during the night. Yiling had never cultivated before and Song Yangzhu was very weak. They were very tired going all the way from Luoyu to there, so as soon as they went in the hotel, they were told to rest by Yemo. Yemo, meanwhile, left the hotel. He knew that without spirit stones, it would be like walking on earth without money. They wouldn't be able to do anything. Yemo wanted to see if he could exchange some of his pills to get some spirit stones. Of course, he would get large sums of money if he took out a few of his face-preserving pills made of stalagmite marrow, but he knew he would be a dead man if he did. Yemo still used an ordinary storage bag. There were more than 10 essence-increasing pills and 1 great essence-increasing pills. These pills were what he was going to sell that night. In a corner of the market, Yemo set up his stall. However, unlike the mortal world markets, even in the farthest corner, people soon arrived. Essence-increasing pill, great essence-increasing pill, how much? A stage 6 Qi gathering master went to him immediately when he saw the pills. Both of these two pills were required by Qi gathering states. The great Qi gathering pill could allow this man reach Qi gathering tertiary stage. He could get these at a pill shops, but he knew these stalls would sell for much cheaper. The essence increasing pill, 20 spirit stones for 1. The great essence increasing pill, 30 spirit stones for 1. Yemo knew the prices of proper shops. Essence increasing pills were sold for 25 spirit stones and great essence increasing pills were sold for 38 spirit stones. He believed his price wasn't high. This cultivator heard this and immediately got excited. It was 5 to 8 spirit stones cheaper than in a shop. Usually, these stalls would only be 2 spirit stones cheaper. If these pills were real, then he would be earning big. "Marshal brother, can I have a look at the pills?" the cultivator asked. "Of course." Yemo handed one of each to the cultivator without hesitation. The cultivator smelled the pill and felt the spirit Qi inside the pill. He immediately called out in excitement, "A top-grade essence increasing pill!" But he realized at once that he shouldn't have talked so loudly. He quickly said, "I want 3 essence increasing pills and 1 great essence increasing pill." However, before he finished, a few more Qi gathering tertiary stages arrived. All of them had heard the words top-grade essence increasing pills. People also liked watching shows on the streets in the cultivation realm, so when they were sure that Yemo's pills were top-grade pills, all of Yemo's 10 essence increasing pills and 10 great essence increasing pills were quickly sold. He had gotten 500 spirit stones very quickly. Yemo sighed. The life of pill concoctors were indeed prosperous. The ones who didn't get pills didn't want to leave. However, Yemo didn't care. He packed his things and was about to leave. Yet, he was stopped by 2 people. "You're tuning into the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.